or peeks down at it for a glance, or just scrolls and scrolls. If so, you could be the next person to get into a fender bender, get a ticket, veer off the road, or even cause a crash that kills you or someone else. Enough already. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
What's going on? 6 o'clock. Good morning from the 1045 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Final Four is set. Let's see how we got there. Tennessee fought valiantly, but fell to two-time National Player of the Year Zach Edey and the Boilermakers, 72-66. Dodd Connect went out swinging, scoring 37 points, shooting 6 of 12 from three. Then NC State, the darling of the tournament, knocks off Duke for the second time in the postseason at 76-64. First in the ACC tournament, now in the NCAA. The NC State Cardiac Pack keeps things rolling, now setting their sights to Purdue as the DJ Burns-Zach Edey matchup has everyone excited. And over the weekend, Dallas police searching for Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice, as he is expected to have played a part in a potential hit-and-run accident. Police determined the two drivers, one in a Corvette, one in a Lamborghini, were, quote, speeding in the far left lane before drivers lost control, causing the Lamborghini to veer onto the shoulder, hit the center median wall, which caused a chain reaction collision that involved four other cars. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Break into it at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 1045 The Zone.
Monday morning, starting off a brand new week on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast right here on 104.5 The Zone with our 11-year NFL veteran and Vol for life, Ramon Foster.
Hey.
Kayla Anderson with the morning off today. We've got Robert Walsh behind the glass. My name is Will Bowling. Your reaction to Tennessee Purdue, the Vols' second ever trip to the Elite Eight. Ends in heartbreak. 615-737-1045 is our number, and streaming live on 1045 The Zone TV. Good morning, Ramon Foster, Robert Walsh. How we doing?
We're good, man. Good morning, Will, Bert, man. Happy late Easter, I guess, for you guys. So I hope you guys had a good celebration if you celebrate. Weather was beautiful. Basketball yesterday, too. I'll take that, man. How were y'all?
It was good. I think Purdue and college basketball had a lot of people cursing on Easter.
Yeah. Yes. I hope my neighbors didn't hear me on the back porch for a little while.
I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but it is hanging on from a thread. I was hanging out with some of your compatriots at a bar in Nashville and was screaming a lot. And I feel sad. Is this what you guys feel like generally? I feel like before I got here, anytime Lucas regales tales of the old Vols, it feels like you guys fell short. But this doesn't feel like that to me.
No.
It feels very positive.
Yeah, I got more positive out of it. It was heartbreaking, but when you look at how the game unfolded, and we got a lot to discuss as far as that game, the weekend, and specifically just the Vols and Edie. Never mind. Just Purdue in general, man. A very, 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 very fascinating weekend. But I'm happy for the dudes. I'm happy for Coach Barnes also. And it was a really good weekend still, I think, other than the loss.
Yeah, I think the old Vols would have been Tennessee losing to NC State, one step shy of the Final Four, or Tennessee being the team that goes down to Oakland. This did not feel like hey, Tennessee and Rick Barnes can't win in March, did it?
No, it did not. You ran into a dude you got to give him his credit. He got talent. He's pretty good. His size is, we hadn't seen this in a while to a functioning big. That's the separator between Edie and all the other 7', 7'4" type guys, is he's a functioning big. And you ran into a guy that's very offensive for them. And even one of the commentators said during the game, Tennessee doesn't have a very offensive big. That's the issue, is when you having a rock fight and it's only going one way.
615-737-1045, your reaction all morning long. Andrew Catalon, the television broadcaster who was on the CBS call yesterday for Tennessee and Purdue, and all weekend for Tennessee's win over Creighton, Purdue's win over Gonzaga. He will join us at 9:20 this morning. We will talk a little bit of Titans and get you the NFL headlines from the weekend sprinkled in as well. But ultimately yesterday, Tennessee falls to Purdue in the Elite Eight, one step shy of the Final Four, 72-66. And Dalton Knecht held up his end of the bargain, didn't he? 37 points yesterday.
He did, man. Shooting as good as you possibly could. There's always just one more you need in moments like this, right? There's one more guy you need to help out. There's always one more point you need to have before going into halftime. There was a lot. The Vols had good opportunity throughout the course of the game, but in general, Dalton Knecht. I saw you tweet about it yesterday, Will, and a lot of folks in general. Like I said, it was an appreciation, I think, at the end of the season. And watching a lot of folks salute Dalton Knecht and what he did from where he came from. I didn't realize up until recently he continued to grow once he got into college. And just watching his game morph and turn into a guy who's a Player of the Year candidate right now, one SEC Player of the Year, consensus All-American. You got to appreciate having a dude like him. And this is one of those stories where the transfer portal somewhat pays off. Now there's other programs that do it too. It probably jump into the portal, win championships, or see guys' careers turn around. But nobody knew what a Dalton Knecht was before coming to Tennessee. You can say what you want to about him. Oh, I knew him at North Colorado. Yeah, right. You did not know that guy at North Colorado. These are, to me, some of the best moments that happened in the portal. I'm guessing he got NIL also, and having the ability to watch your talents blossom. And not just blossom, but really flourish. This dude turned into a serious contender. I'm not sure where he's going to fall as far as the NBA draft or how he's going to be perceived as a pro. But I know what Tennessee got a dude that they're going to put up his banner as far as All-American in that arena. Whenever he comes back, he's going to get a standing ovation. Wherever he was before Tennessee, he is forever a Vol for life. So it was fun watching them live, man. I'm glad I got an opportunity to see him a couple times this year also as a fan.
In the F&M Big Chat, you can join the conversation there on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, or Twitch.
Please.
Lethal Latin writes in, does Rick Barnes not focus much on three-point shooting? We haven't had a solid three-shooter in over a decade. Santiago Vescovi, isn't he the second-best three-point shooter in Tennessee basketball history?
Doesn't Josiah shoot pretty well, too?
And Josiah was great yesterday.
I mean, we're talking about focusing on the three. I mean, we're looking at a guy and Zakai Ziegler who turned his three-point shot completely around this year. I know we lost, but that can't be the take we're taking this morning.
Vescovi was not his best self this season, obviously, but he is one of three Tennessee players to ever have 300 three-pointers. So I don't think it's Rick Barnes not finding three-point shooters. Those three-point shooters have to make their shots at the end of their career, and he didn't.
He didn't.
Part of it.
Yeah, finding a special three-point shooter, I mean, every squad is looking for him. Bama found one. I mean, but think about how hard it is. Like Purdue has a team for the shooters. And you also look at Creighton. Creighton had shooters too, and they lost to the Vols. So to me, it's opportunities of missed shots. I thought the running floaters was crazy. The guy, and I'm gonna say this because he's in the league and he's old enough to receive this type of criticism. The guy I think that hurt him the most, as far as shooting in general, screw a three, Jonas Adu. When did he get so offensive with his shooting? And then not just that, I think he's over in the last two games. He might have made 2 field goals in the last 2 games.
And we've said it. Ron Slay has said it. When Jonas Adu's first shot doesn't go in, you're in for a long day with his shooting ability. And you knew the second his first shot was an air ball on that first or second trip down, it was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Because that little 12-footer that he has in mid-range is one of the most important parts of Tennessee's offense. And it opens up the lane for Zakai Ziegler and Dalton Connect to get in the paint and then kick it out, either not for a three, but for a 15-footer from Jonas Adu that just wasn't there in 2 games where you needed that shot to be there with the drop coverage that Kalkbrenner and Edey were playing for Creighton and Purdue, respectively.
Exactly. So to me, it ain't the three-point shot. I think that let you down. It was the running floaters. It was Jonas Adu's ability to score when necessary. Again, if, like you said, to that point, if he was able to pull Edey out of the paint just a little bit, and keep him from being a rim protector because of that mid-range shot, I think you see a different outcome, because that's the thing about Adu. He can pass it too. Like, he can find the open man in those same possessions right there. So that to me was very concerning. And of course, his attitude, just watching him on the sideline, on the bench too, he knew he'd messed up. I even read his lips one time where he was just really upset with himself. And I get that. But he went ice cold, I felt like, for this group offensively and defensively too, when you had Tobe having to be the guy. But we got a lot to discuss, Will, in this game.
Tons to recap. 615-737-1045 on the phone lines. TN Berg on YouTube says, we haven't had post play in a decade. Why are we doing this? Grant Williams played 5 years ago and was a 2-time SEC Player of the Year. Like, you can be critical and you can be disappointed today, but let's please not be ridiculous at 6:11 in the morning.
Please not. Again, did you go Easter egg hunting yesterday, Will?
I did not go Easter egg hunting yesterday. No.
Okay. We had hours on Saturday, man. It was actually really cool. The kids getting way too much money these days, man. Like, you could have paid rent.
Sounds like a you problem.
No, man. No, it ain't.
Who's the one giving out the money?
It is the over the top aunties, okay, that just got some money hanging around the house and want to put in these golden eggs. I'm like, are you kidding me? I remember when there was only one golden egg in the doggone Easter egg hunt. You know how many money eggs they had, Will? Bert? About 12 of them, okay?
With 5 in each of them?
It had a couple of them had 10s.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
They had 10s. Well, I heard one of the aunties say, don't come back into the house unless you got enough money to pay for rent.
That's an NIL deal.
I'm like,
right there is what that is. 615-737-1045. Your reaction to Tennessee, Purdue, and the way we'll remember this Tennessee basketball team coming up right here on RKW.
Fellas, if you've been feeling tired and grumpy and not from March Madness, have loaded a lack of motivation and drive, have weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. Just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get the results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office. It's a concierge medicine for men. The physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatments for each patient. Most health insurance is accepted for treatment, and they have affordable and convenient treatment options, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments for established patients that ship directly to your home each month. So there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. Right now at Low T Center, it's only $25 to get your T levels tested, with results back in about 25 minutes. Make your health and quality of life a priority. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn, man. It's getting warm outside this weekend. I think we're supposed to tap into the 80s. Okay, and everybody's going to be cutting their grass. Some of y'all going to be cutting your grass, and guess what? You're going to see weeds and all those other invasive things that needed to be out by now. I'm here to tell you, whether you live in Williamson County or you live in Sumner, if you live in Wilson, Davis, it doesn't matter, okay? They will come to you and service your yard. They have an interactive website where you can book an appointment online and get an estimate, or if you need somebody from Secure Lawn to come out and survey your grass and see what issues that you have and fix it, make it greener, lush, and one of the best yards in the neighborhood, reach out to the people that I trust, man. I'm going to give you the number now. I'm going to give it to you in a second. Also, it's 615-893-8455. Best part about them is everything about Secure Lawn that they have in front of you, no contracts. If you like them, you keep them. If you don't, you end it. It's just that simple. They're not some big national chain. They're local and have been here for over 20 years in Middle Tennessee. They're very punctual, okay? So as the weather starts to change, get Secure Lawn over to your house to spray some of their awesome sauce on your lawn to kill some of those pesky weeds. You can call them, again, at 615-893-8455 or go to their website at securelawn.com.
This is your off-the-track racing report, brought to you by State Water Heaters.
Home sweet home. Denny Hamlin got a boost from his pit crew and led the final 2 overtime laps to capture the Toyota Owners 400 NASCAR Cup Series race last night at Richmond Raceway, which is his home track. After a Kyle Larson spin with 2 laps remaining sent the race into caution, Hamlin edged his teammate Martin Truex Jr. out of the pits and maintained the lead for his 53rd career Cup win, his 2nd on the season, and his 5th at Richmond. Truex, who led for 54 consecutive laps before the Larson spin and was seemingly on his way to victory, ended up finishing 4th. He was also displeased on how he thought Hamlin jumped the restart and used him up in Turn 1. Despite the 4th place finish, Truex remains atop the driver standings ahead of Larson, who finished the race in 3rd. The Cup Series remains on the short tracks by traveling to Martinsville for Sunday's Cookout 400. Broadcast start is set for 2 o'clock Central on Fox.
This has been your Off the Track Racing Report, brought to you by State Water Heaters. I'm Liz Allison. If there's anything that I don't like, it's not having enough hot water. That was me way too often until I switched to a State brand tankless water heater. Not only do I never run out of hot water, but I'm saving on my utility bill every month. State Water Heaters makes gas and electric, standard efficiency to high efficiency water heaters, and of course, my personal favorite, tankless water heaters, where the hot water never runs out. Visit statewaterheaters.com and click on the Find a Local Installer link on the main page, and you'll be on your way to owning your very own State brand water heater, just like me.
Monday morning and a brand new month. Off and running on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW is brewed by 8th and Rose, 615-737-1045. Your reaction yesterday to Tennessee, Purdue, to NC State. Alabama, UConn getting to the Final Four. We can take it all. 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster, how will you remember this Tennessee basketball team?
A group that took advantage of almost everything, man, that just simply came up short. Had a lot of resilience in this group, man. Zakai coming back the way he did this year, I think that's super commendable. Watching him develop and get better as a point guard. Watching Dalton Connect, who I knew nothing about. I remember you in the preseason, talking about him. I'm like, well, okay, all right, okay, simmer down. And then even with what I said about Adu, I saw a lot of growth out of these dudes. Saw a lot of growth out of Tobe, Adu, Zakai. I mean, and watching the leadership of Vescovy and Josiah Jordan-James also play a part in it too. And I'm hoping for our best, seeing Cam also and Freddie DeLeon get some playing time down the stretch. I thought in the Creighton game, and Rick Barnes called them out in it too, they were pretty clutch in what you asked them to do for young guys in those moments right there, man. But with that being said, a really good group that came up short. That's how I look at them. They almost had a clean sweep as far as SEC awards go. Can't say this was a bad team. They just had some bad moments, man. I knew the free throws was going to be an issue. Somewhat was. But I remember this group that gave a lot and checked almost every single box except for the Final Four.
This season was a success, right?
To me, yeah. Yes, it was. It's hard to say no. I mean, it's not because of the you want the Final Four, and they were good enough. That's the thing about saying what's a success and what's not. It's very circumstantial. When you look at what you were up against down the stretch as of late, with no real presence from the post as far as scoring, running into a guy like Zach Edey, like you knocked off some high caliber teams this year. You made it through the SEC regular season as regular season champs without having to do anything else. I think outright winning the SEC tournament was huge. Looking at what other teams have done, you beat good teams in this league too. If we're just talking about SEC play first, and then they came together with an outsider they never known, never played with before. Remember, there was the one Harvard transfer that was committed.
Yeah, Chris Ludlam.
And then jump back into the portal. Like, imagine what it could have been if you'd have had a guy like him also. And then they still found ways to win, man. I thought this group maximized as much as you possibly could without making it to the Final Four. So to me, yes, it is a success. And for one of the few times Coach Barnes lost a game in the tournament that he wasn't the favorite in, which has been one of his bad, I guess, calling cards as a coach. Was you can't say he didn't give his all against the teams he was supposed to beat. He did. They did. And his teams did too.
And anytime you get to a point where your program has only been once, the season is absolutely a success. Tennessee was 1-8 as a program in the Sweet 16. And you got a second win, and a dramatic one that you deserved against Creighton on Friday night. I think the difficult part of the way this thing ends is last night, in that game yesterday, didn't feel like basketball. That didn't feel like the season. It feels like you played the season and then you had two wrestling matches against Zach Edey where he was allowed to wrestle you and you were not allowed to wrestle him. Jacob in the F&M Bank chat on YouTube this morning says, I yawned too loud this morning and got called for a foul on Zach Edey. In fact, the ladder that was standing next to Zach Edey when he cut down the nets yesterday, it was actually an and one. For Zach. He actually got a couple free throws after the game because the ladder was too close to him and breathed on him. Tennessee in this game last night had more assists, more blocks, more threes, a higher three-point percentage, more steals, more fast break points, the largest lead, less turnovers, and more points off turnovers, and 22 less free throw attempts and 13 more fouls.
Yeah. As a parent, as myself, a parent who has two kids that play in the post at times, to all of you TSSAA and TMSSAA referees, if you could allow my kids to foul guys and also get fouled easy, I'd absolutely appreciate that. My only issue with how Zach Edey's officiated, well, two now. Everybody talks about how he's officiated. That is a problem, I think, also. If you know this guy's been officiated differently, you don't know how to officiate for him, that is a problem. Like, and it seems like the referees know it, the commentators know it also. Like it's open knowledge that he camps out in the paint. It's open knowledge that, okay, he does get hacked, but it's also open knowledge that he hacks the heck out of people and pull and move people around. The camping out in the paint to me is problematic. That's where at some point he's going to meet his guy and he's not going to be able to do those types of things. So it's that part that everybody know he's officiated differently. That shouldn't be the case. The other part is I know he gets hacked. He's a big. You got to lean on him and all those types of things. It is what it is. If you have a kid that plays in the post or you are a person that played in the post, you know that's just going to be the case. But he's also allowed to toss people around. I've never seen a game where you have a big who's bigger than everybody else who is allowed to toss people around. And you see him pushing and tossing folks around. And to end the game, I think with one foul, when even on live TV, they're saying, whoa, he got away with one. How do you not see that? Because if that's going to be the case, then you got to call every ticky-tack foul on him and not allow him to toss folks around. He was pushing and tossing it. And I'm just like, I know we say we got to referee officiate him different, but it shouldn't be that different where he can just toss people out like a doggone cornhole beanbag.
He was the only player who started the game at halftime who did not have a single foul on the floor.
He should have at least had 2 in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
At minimum.
There
2.
was a moving screen on Zakai Ziegler. There was an elbow to Tobe Awaka. There was a flop that he had that got Tobe Awaka his second foul, where at 7'4", 300 pounds, he's moving around like a rag doll, like he got pushed over. It's why I think myself and a lot of other people come out of this game with very little respect for Purdue basketball. Because it just felt like Zach Edey was so protected. And I don't know why he is so protected, but it felt like he's so protected that Tennessee had no chance of this game. And don't get me wrong, Zach Edey is a very talented basketball player. I'm not going to go as far as to say, like I saw some on social media yesterday saying, oh, he's just a big guy with no talent who just camps out in the lane and puts up shots. But I do think there is some truth to the fact that when Zach Edey can stand in the lane for, at times, 8 seconds. I saw Jimmy Dykes, ESPN color commentator on Twitter yesterday, said, according to coaches that I talked to, not his opinion, but he said, coaches that I talked to, the biggest issue is not the fouls that aren't called, it's how long he can camp out in the lane. It was Aaron Torres of Fox Sports Radio said that. He's the one that said about coaches I talked to say, it's not the fouls, it's the fact that he can stand there for 8 seconds. And Jimmy Dykes last night was the one on Twitter who said, it is just a fact that when he can stand in the paint for 7 seconds at a time, he's unguardable. And credit to Purdue. They've got a guy who is able to bend the rules in his favor and get the benefit of the doubt. My issue is with the media members and the national basketball nerds that just don't want to accept that he has a clear advantage.
He does.
He absolutely has a clear advantage. And when you have a superstar player at any level of the sport who's a generational talent, you absolutely get the benefit of the doubt. And right now, that's what Purdue has.
He has the Jordan rule around him right now. He has the Jordan rule around him. And, again, he did his thing. 40 points.
He's incredible.
So,
He's absolutely incredible.
And to me, the unique thing about him is his ability to make free throws. So if the fouls are going to come his way, 22 points off of free throws, nuts. Okay, for a dude his size. Shaquille O'Neal was never able to do that type of work right there at the free throw line.
He was 14 of 22 at the free throw line.
14 of 20. Either way, that's a cold piece of work right there at the free throw line right there. You got to appreciate what he was and what he can mean to college basketball. I don't know what it looked like on the pro level for a dude like him. I don't know if he's middle, late first round or second round type of guy. I don't know.
Apparently, he is middle to late first round pick in the NBA draft.
Middle to late first round pick.
Because in the NBA, there are guys his size that can shoot threes.
It is.
I mean, Jokic and guys like that.
And
I mean,
Joel.
Wembanyama is a lot skinnier version of Zach Edey, but Wembanyama could take you off the bounce.
Yeah. But the camping out, though, to me, should be officiated a whole lot different. I see it officiated the same in the women's game, and South Carolina's got bigs out of this world, have had bigs out of this world, and other teams too. The same thing goes for LSU, also a women's basketball team. Like, they call that separately, but he can stand there under the rim for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds at a time. Not okay. And like I said, just to notice that he can be officiated differently. And it's talked about out loud. The way he slings guys. And I can't get away from that because I'm telling you, Shaq is this size.
Yeah, old Army guy on YouTube just said, well, Shaq was never protected like Edie. How short is your memory?
Shaq?
Yes, he was.
You think Shaq? No, Shaq got his fouls, though.
Well,
He
what I'm
accumulated
saying
fouls. My
is
thing is
that
the fouls.
Shaq and Edie are similarly difficult to officiate. That's the thing. Is like those are the two players in college basketball that have been the most difficult to officiate.
I think we're talking about two separate leagues, though, too, the NBA versus college. In college, I would almost expect for it to be called a little bit more even and a little bit more strict. The NBA, I somewhat get it. Okay, Shaq is a superstar that's got to play 70-plus games. All right, that's a different take than a dude that's got to play now, what are they, up to like 30-plus games throughout the course of the season? I get that one. To me, it can't, like Shaq had moments where, okay, that's a foul. I think they turn a blind eye to Edie over the course of the game and this tournament. I watch him in other games. The exact same things happen. He plays bully ball, and he's the only one that allowed to play it. That, to me, is very problematic for teams that are trying to scheme up against him. And, yes, they are hacking the heck out of him. Again, if you are a referee that allow people to allow bigs to foul and throw folks around, please come officiate some of the games that I watch in high school. Okay, please. I never see this happen. But again, Purdue won fair and square.
Absolutely.
We should have
had
had
a better team.
We had an 11-point run, 11-point lead. Did not close out the way you needed it to. The three-point shot was not falling. They couldn't get to the basket, whether it be because of Edie or because our bigs didn't have a mid-range game. There's a lot that's at fault for the Vols, too. It's just that when you look at the foul structure of one guy versus the others, like especially when we're talking about bigs to bigs, we're talking about 3 quick ones for Adu, and we're talking about a foul out for Toby Awaka. And then on top of that, Estrella had 3 himself. I understand drawing fouls, but it's at a very high rate with him.
Here's where the blame lies on Tennessee specifically. If Tennessee beats Mississippi State in the SEC tournament, this game is played in Phoenix. This is a Final Four game. That's where I go back to this. That's where Tennessee could have really controlled its own destiny better and also probably kept the team they swept in Alabama out of the Final Four, because Tennessee would be a 1 seed in the West. They wouldn't have had to go through their 2 seed Arizona, who lost, as they always do, in the Sweet 16 as well, in the second weekend. And then they would have had an easier path. So Tennessee deserves blame for the way this season ended. Absolutely they do. If Tennessee shows up and plays a game in the SEC tournament, they're a 1 seed, and they don't have to deal with this. And Tennessee's probably making its first Final Four. So you can't go through this entire conversation without laying some blame on this team. And look, if Tennessee makes some mid-range shots in the last 5 to 6 minutes, they probably win, and we're not talking about Edie. We're talking about the Final Four matchup and how Tennessee's going to beat vending machine man and DJ Burns at NC State. I want to be careful in making this about Tennessee lost because of the way the officials officiated Zach Edey. No, Zach Edey in officiating is a problem. It's not a Tennessee problem. It's a college basketball problem. And if you have listened to this show this year, you have heard me rant about this in February, that Purdue games are mind-numbingly stupid to watch because of the way he is officiated. So I want to make that 2 conversations, because the way Zach Edey was officiated, it absolutely played a part in the result of this game. It's not the reason why Tennessee lost.
That's facts.
But Zach Edey is not good for college basketball. He's just not. Who enjoyed watching that game yesterday?
Purdue fans.
Exactly. There was nothing basketball about that. Yeah. That is why I think so many people have such little respect for Purdue. And put away your tinfoil hats. Nobody's trying to stick it to Tennessee. There's not a conspiracy of, the NCAA wanted to stick it to the Vols. Like, shut up.
I doubt that.
Shut up. That is stupid. You are not a stupid person, but if you're making that argument, that is a stupid argument, respectfully. But that being said, I have no interest in watching Zach Edey play basketball as a neutral observer, because to me, that was not basketball. I respect Matt Painter. He's apparently as good of a guy as there is in college basketball. Good for him. Happy for him. But it's not the reason why Tennessee lost. I just don't want to watch it anymore. And I don't think anyone else does either, unless you're a Purdue fan or a Vanderbilt fan that has nothing else to cheer for this time of year.
That was a quick shot right there. Also, another quick shot. He didn't have to, and I'm a guy that keeps tabs on stuff too. I will admit, if you got me on something, I'm gonna get you too. But Zach Edey's post-game press conference where he talked about how people doubted him. Like, my brother, you weren't highly recruited at all. Like, that's just like me saying there was teams that overlooked me. Of course, Mo. Like, this is a part of the process. Like, every team looked over you. Zach Edey, sometimes you do have to get better. Sometimes it's a progress to making it to where you are, to where you could potentially be 2 times player of the year. That's all right. But you can't go say this coach looked over me, and then the guy that you just directly beat in Tennessee and Coach Barnes, you say he's a guy that overlooked you too. You don't fit that style of ball that the Vols play, first and foremost. He took a shot, I thought, at Rick Barnes that was totally unnecessary. And I can admit, a petty individual at times. But to do that and something that had no immediate effect on you and your success, I think was a bum move by him.
So the exact question that Zach Edey was asked, word for word, Braden, and for Zach, Braden Smith, who was also on the podium, what does it mean you guys gave the net to Coach Gene Cady, legendary Purdue basketball coach? You guys gave the net to Gene Cady. What does it mean to get Coach Painter to the Final Four? Zach Edey. It's amazing. I get to pay him back. Like, there were so many coaches that looked over me. Name a program. I could name a coach that looked over me. Tennessee, Rick Barnes is a great coach, but he was at our practice, looked over me. It's kind of been the story of my life, Zach Edey says. People have doubted me. People looked past me. Can't do that anymore. Respectfully, how are you looking past someone who's 7'4", by the way, first of all?
I said he was a 400 ranked player.
You've got to really
out.
crane your neck to get around seeing past Zach Edey.
Then you also have to drop a crap ton of weight for a basketball player.
It's like if he'd been asked a question of like, how motivated are you from only having 3 offers out of high school? Fine. He was asked about giving the net to Gene Cady, and he made it about Rick Barnes.
Hard times, Will.
So the specifics of his high school pedigree.
You do it, please.
7'4", 300-pound Toronto, Canada native who played at IMG Academy. He did have 3 offers out of high school.
Oh.
If we want to call IMG Academy a high school. Purdue, Baylor, and Western Kentucky were the 3 teams who offered him. So a team that's in the Final Four, a team that just won a national championship, and Western Kentucky offered him.
Like, bro, you're ranked plus 400 in basketball. I don't think you understand how far down the line you are for a lot of different people.
Where can America buy NC State gear? 615-737-1045. We'll recap the rest of the weekend as well. Coming up next, get to your phone calls. We'll start with Eric on the other side and look at the biggest mistake that was made in maybe the history of NCAA championship athletics this weekend next.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we do not see the warning signs. We are afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed right away, or maybe a small problem now that'll become bigger later, or it could be nothing at all. Bottom line is we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something we don't need. We need a peace of mind, and United Structural System is the company to give you that. They have over 25,000 100% satisfied residential customers, and here's how they make that happen. When USS comes out to your house, you're going to get a problem solver who provides a peace of mind to their customers, the homeowner. You're not going to get someone who's worried about meeting a sales quota, upselling the next big thing, but someone there to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. At USS, the only measure of success is how satisfied the homeowner is and not a closing ratio. Homeowners have been trusting USS for over 25 years. Their service in Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky. You can reach them online at USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855.
RKW, Ramon, Kayla, and Will is brewed by 8th and Roast on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045. The number. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling with you. Kayla Anderson on vacation. Back tomorrow on the show. Let's go to the phones. Eric in Nashville leads us off. Good morning, Eric.
Morning, Eric.
Hey, guys, first of all, I want to say I hope everybody had a fantastic Easter, and hopefully everybody be careful today and doesn't get pranked. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. And speaking of that, guys, I've got a little joke for you. Hopefully you guys will like this. I think, Ramon, you might like this. Guys, what do you call a group of rabbits that walk backwards?
I'm so lost on that one, Eric.
A receding hairline.
A receding hair. I get it. The hairs.
Yeah. I certainly have one, and I'm sure the other people have those too. So, yeah, I appreciate that music, Rob, and I love it. And, guys, first of all, I also got to say a shout-out to my good friend Kenny the mailman. He threw me under the bus Friday. He needed me to tell those lies. I actually had a Rolex on me.
Okay, then.
No. But, yeah, we love messing with each other. He's been a great friend for over 40 years. I've known him since the spring of 1980. Him and his wife, and all seriousness, are wonderful people, guys, and they continue to be great friends. But, guys, as far as the Final Four goes this past weekend, and Tennessee yesterday, guys, you kind of brought up a little bit what I was going to ask you about, what you thought about Zach Edey's comments after the game. Guys, I didn't see the whole game. I watched the last few minutes because I was involved with Easter stuff. But, of course, Tennessee did have their chances to try and come back still with Edey missing. I think he missed 3 of his last 4 free throws, but, just couldn't pull it out. But you got to give him credit. But I will say this, guys. I want anybody to show me if they had NC State in the Final Four. Probably a lot of people had Purdue, and there's some people also that had Alabama probably in the Final Four. Maybe not a bunch. But, of course, everybody's saying it's UConn Invitational. Maybe it is, maybe it's not me. But I want to say this again. I don't want to hear anybody calling in saying, oh, UConn gets such a tough draw and all this type of stuff, when I don't think they had a single game that they won in single digits. So it was basically a blowout. So we'll see what happens. I'm just hoping I don't hear anybody complaining, oh, they just gave such a tough draw. I mean, give me a break, guys. But we'll see what happens in the Final Four. I would love to see Alabama win. I just don't think it's going to happen, guys. But, guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk again soon.
You too, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate the call.
Hairline as in Hare. I laughed too
Now,
hard.
why are you still talking about
I
it?
laughed too hard at
What's
that
the difference between a hippo and a zippo, Ramon?
one. Not sure.
One's a thick, heavy mammal, and the other one's a little lighter.
Oh, my gosh. That joke did not make me very, very hoppy this morning.
That was solid.
Come
too.
on, man.
That was solid. That was decent, man.
Anyway, can we please talk about anything else other than these terrible jokes? And there's not a terrible joke in that one. I'm just genuinely
it's
trying
April 1st,
to move forward.
man. It's April 1st. I got a feeling we got more in store today.
I'm trying to transition like somebody making a U-turn with an 18-wheeler. We're going to have to make some.
Y'all didn't like
It's not going to look very pretty. No, I did not like it.
Hey,
When did we set the precedent that callers call in and tell terrible jokes? Please, callers, if you call into this show and you tell a joke, please just make it funny.
No.
The number one rule of comedy is be funny.
It was all right.
We love you, Eric. But whew, come on.
What was Bert's joke then? What was that? That was out of 10. That was a 2 also?
No, it was out of the jokes I've heard, it was definitely one of them this weekend. It was fine.
That didn't sound too good, Will. It was definitely one
I'll
of
give
them.
you a-
That
I'll
is
give you a 6.
backhanded as hell.
I'll give you a 6 out of 10.
I was backhanded as hell.
That's what I am. I'm a solid 6. Gets the job done. NC State 76, Texas 66 of the NCAA women's tournament. Did you see this about the 3-point lines yesterday?
I did, man.
This is one of the most ridiculous things that the NCAA has done, and the NCAA is an organization known for ridiculousness. So, there were games played all weekend in this Portland regional where one 3-point line at the Moda Center was further away than the other one. How does this happen?
Relying on people.
How does this happen?
They probably didn't have enough Starbucks, Will. That was crazy, though. And the dude set up at the podium was just like, it wasn't my fault. It's like, bro, This is a representation of you hiring bad crews, Will. That's what happens in these situations, man. Do they give them points back? That's the next question.
So they gave them an option to delay the game. NCAA representatives gave NC State coach Wes Moore and Texas coach Vic Schaefer the option to delay the game, remeasure it, and retape it, which the coaches said is a process that would take more than an hour. And both coaches agreed that they were fine with just playing with it because at least they knew at that point. So according to ESPN, teams during the 5 games in the Portland Regionals shot 29% from the too short three-point line and 33% from the standard three-point line. So it's not like one of them was too long and the other one was the right size. One of them was the right size. The other one was too short. So teams averaged 68 points per game from the standard line, 62% from the shorter line. It was actually easier for them to play from the line that was actually the right three-point line because that's what they're used to over the entire season.
Exactly. That's somewhat problematic right there, though, like legitimately. I guarantee you this moving forward, the NCAA will have people who are certified to do these types of things now because you can't have that type of issue right there. Imagine the longest yard situation and it's only 1 yard short. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that on the NFL side. That's why the NFL is king, man. They don't make these type of mistakes unless it's Super Bowl grass.
Joshua is in Murfreesboro with a joke. I swear if this is not funny,
come on, Josh.
Then we are suspending callers for at least one segment from telling jokes. Go ahead, Joshua.
Let's go, Josh.
All right, this will be a good one for Ramon. Why do Tennessee and Auburn fans tend to have their worst riots at laundromats?
Because mommy didn't send money to them?
The survey says number 3, by the way. The number 1 answer is both sets of fans want all the game. Neither wants to roll Tide.
Get out of here.
All right, I got a chuckle. There was an attempt.
That was good.
5 out of 10.
I guess he's a Bama fan. I'll take that.
I can't retell that joke because I will never say those 2 words one after another ever.
That R and the T
in my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Hey, that was solid right there. Hey, shout out to Bama and Tennessee for holding the SEC down in the tournament. What are the last 2 left? Shout out to Bama. Who would have thought? What's crazy, though, they had one of the best players in the world last year and didn't make it. You know what I'm saying?
It's always the team after the team. So congratulations to 2025 Final Four participants, Tennessee. 615-737-1045. We have the audio of Zach Edey taking a question about a former Purdue coach and making it not only about him, but making it about Rick Barnes. We have that for you next.
Fellas, if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have noticed a lack of motivation and drive, have weight gain and lost some muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not your typical doctor office. It's a concierge medicine for men. The physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatments for each patient. Most health insurance is also accepted for treatment, too, and they have affordable and convenient treatment options, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments for established patients that ships directly to your home each month. So there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. Right now, at Low T Center, it's only $25 to get your T levels tested with results back in about 25 minutes. Make your health and quality of life a priority. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointments online today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
What's going on? Good morning. 7:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Final Four is set. Let's see how we got here with Tennessee fighting valiantly but fell to Zach Edey and the Boilermakers 72-66. Dalton Connect went out swinging, though, scoring 37 points and shooting 6 of 12 from three. Now to NC State, who knocked off Duke for the second time in the postseason, 76-64. First in the ACC tournament, now in the NCAA tournament. The NC State Cardiac Pack keep things rolling, now with their eyes set on Purdue, as the DJ Burns-Zach Edey matchup has everyone excited. And to the NFL, where Dallas police are searching for Kansas City wide receiver Rashee Rice as part of an ongoing investigation of a potential hit-and-run accident. Police determined the two drivers, one in Corvette, the other in a Lamborghini, were, quote, speeding in the far left lane before drivers lost control, causing the Lamborghini to veer onto the shoulder and hit the center median wall. This caused a chain reaction collision and involved 4 other cars. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. in Nashville. Ramon, Kayla, and Will is brewed by 8th and Roast on 104.5 The Zone, with lots to discuss on a Monday morning. Our 11-year NFL veteran is in the building. His name is Ramon Foster.
Hey.
Robert Walsh makes the show happen. Kayla Anderson has the morning off. I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045. As Tennessee's basketball season comes to an end in its second ever Elite Eight, we react to that with you and the rest of the Final Four. Some great hoops over the weekend. Your phone calls all morning long at 615-737-1045 as you commiserate or celebrate Tennessee's 2024 season.
That's a celebration still. Yesterday sucked, man, but even before the loss, it was some really good moments, man. The dudes got on fire yesterday for the Vols, man. It was exciting. We were in our household definitely talking trash and celebrating and enjoying it. Vols, that's why I tweeted that out Saturday sometimes, man. It's like, man, don't let whatever happens in this March Madness and just in general take away from what these dudes have done. Like, when was the last time the Vols had a run like this in every sport, from softball to baseball to basketball, even the women's basketball team, even though they fell short and didn't reach their standards in what we're used to. But football, everybody's freaking killing. Will Track, I know, is still doing this thing. Like, it's a good time. A lot of other teams, man, are having meetings about taking coaches' powers away and, trying to figure out how they're going to win in their home arenas. You don't have those problems right now. Enjoy it. Embrace. I put out a tweet like that, of course, and I got Kentucky fans in my comments on it. They're looking for a reason to get back at people in the SEC right now. Couldn't be my coach out here getting his power stripped away, though.
72-66, the final. Second time Tennessee gets to an Elite Eight yesterday. The game Friday night against Creighton as well was fun basketball to watch. That was a great game, and Dalton Connect performing well in that one. Josiah Jordan-James, I think, will be really proud of the way his final 2 games in a Tennessee uniform went.
Yeah, he was killing it. He did. He was the guy that needed to show up in a major way for them, man, on Friday. And by the way, that was a late one too, and I was excited. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be because it was an exciting game. It was late, and I think it finished at 11:20 Central or something like that. So it was already Saturday for the guys up north too. But the Creighton game was solid. I think it showed that you can play with one of those types of teams, being Creighton. And how you dealt with them and how you won down the stretch, and your style of ball is just, with Purdue, you ran into a different type of dude that's officiated differently, and they scored efficiently. One thing I think that did happen in that game, and they spoke about it, what Purdue's coach wanted to do was play a half-court offense, and they did. And with that, having a 7'4" center that can camp out in the paint the way he does, you will be efficient in scoring whenever that's the case. And, I mean, his ability to draw fouls was insane. It just was.
ESPN's Jimmy Dykes yesterday tweets, when Zach Edey is allowed to be in the lane for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds, he is literally unguardable. It's just a fact.
This is one of the more respected guys in the college basketball world saying this.
Fox Sports Radio, Aaron Torres yesterday on Twitter. It's so wild. Literally everyone, opposing coaches, fans, unbiased media can see that there are some discrepancies with how Zach Edey is refereed. Only ones who can't are Purdue fans and media who want access to Matt Painter. It's wild.
Access to Matt Painter?
Matt Painter's a good guy.
Wow.
And I think you have a lot of national media people that want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And granted, same is true for Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes is a good guy that a lot of people in basketball like. But it is crazy, some of the discourse around Zach Edey and how I saw Jeff Goodman, Memphis guy, yesterday on Twitter. Oh, the hate is ridiculous for Zach Edey. The hate is out of control today. I don't know if it is.
I don't know if it is.
I mean, basketball and sports in general need villains. That's great. You know, I am great with hate in sports as long as you don't hate the person themselves. You can hate the player without hating the person, right? But the way this game went yesterday, and 33 free throw attempts to 11, I don't blame any Tennessee fans for feeling some hatred for the player yesterday.
There was also more hatred that was given out yesterday, too.
What's that?
In the postgame. You said you had a little audio, man.
We do have the audio. It's a great transition by you.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, I'll do some cool stuff.
So Zach Edey, the guy who's about to be the 2-time National Player of the Year, was asked about former Purdue coach Gene Cady. And Zach Edey took the net, was able to give a piece of the net to former Purdue coach Gene Cady, and then had this to say in his response.
I get to pay him back. Like there was so many coaches that looked over me. Like you could name a program, I can name a coach that looked over me. The Tennessee, Rick Barnes is a great coach, but he was in a bunch of our practice, looked over me. Like it's kind of been the story of my life. People have doubted me, people look past me, and can't do that anymore.
Yeah, they can't look past you, buddy, because you're 7'4", 300 pounds.
Let me give more context to what he's complaining and griping about. As a guy myself who put that chip on my shoulder as far as like, man, undrafted, need motivation, you know, those types of conversations, how you paint in your mind like, oh, man, there is a level of, hey, I was ranked where I was and went undrafted or didn't get the praise because of me too, right? Like there's a component where ownership has to take place for people. Like a guy like Zach Edey, one, you're from Canada. You were sent down to IMG to get better and to train. Like IMG is it's a small college for the folks that don't know. It was just bought, I think, for like, what was it, $2 billion? This is a high school essentially, or a transition school, whatever you want to call it. He was sent from Canada to go to IMG in Bradenton, Florida, to get better, to develop. Young man, you were the number 35th player in the state of Florida in 2020. You were the 76th player at your position at center. How often are centers used in basketball these days? In college, maybe a little bit more, but most teams don't have a center. Most centers are savvy with the ball, can move out, shoot. That's not your game. You were the 76th ranked center. You have a 3-star rating, okay? And nationally, you were the 436th ranked player. This isn't baseball. This isn't football where 11 people on the court. There's 5 people to a team on the court at a certain particular time. You are the 436th player. So you getting looked over was, hey, you needed time to develop. You needed to go to a prep school like IMG. You needed to go to a school like Purdue where they would spend time with you. Or he had an offer from Baylor. Or you had an offer from Western Kentucky. That's just where you were as a player. For you to take a left field shot at Rick Barnes for overlooking you or not choosing not to offer you a scholarship, that's an ego thing to me. And that was just unnecessary for a coach that did nothing but give you praise. It's okay to say, I got better. It's okay to have certain moments where you self-motivate yourself too. But that question wasn't about Rick Barnes. It was about your historically famous coach from your university. And that's where it becomes very problematic to me. It's like, I get it. I am a petty individual when it comes down to me trying to prove stuff.
Of course.
I hold on to stuff as motivation for myself. I don't think you can incorporate other people into your motivation when it was a you problem too. Right? It's those things. Like, my issue wasn't the coaches. It was, oh, you chose those dudes? Well, watch me knock those dudes off. Like, he could have said that. Right. You don't go at the coaches when you're ranked 436 coming out of out of high school, after going to IMG. That's a you problem, Zach Edey. There's no need to bring in Rick Barnes in that situation.
BJ Earn 2 on YouTube in the F&M Bank chat where you could join the conversation says, I have a question. Has Tennessee ever lost a game in any sport not due to bad officiating? Yeah, yesterday. Yes, they didn't lose yesterday because of bad officiating.
Right.
We have said specifically in the last hour, Tennessee lost yesterday because it missed some jump shots in the second half. They lost because they had an 11-point lead and then fell asleep at the wheel, like Charles Barkley said at halftime. They lost because there's a razor-thin margin for error when you play Purdue and Zach Edey because he's the National Player of the Year. They lost in part because in 1,169 minutes of play this season, Edey has been called for 72 fouls. In the last 2 games, he has played 77 of the 80 minutes. Ramon Foster, he's been called for 3 total fouls. It's not why Tennessee lost, but if you have listened to this show at all during basketball season, you know that we have been banging this drum for a month and a half. Zach Edey is an eyesore to watch play basketball. Purdue basketball is awful for the neutral observer because referees don't know what to do with him. It's not a Tennessee problem. It's not why Tennessee lost. It's not a woe is me Tennessee fan. We said this before we even knew Tennessee was in the same bracket as Purdue. Some national media want to talk about it. Others don't want to talk about it. They can do whatever they want. You can follow whoever you want on social media. It's not my job to tell people how to manage their own narratives because that's my choice on who I follow or don't follow. But there is a problem with the way this guy is officiated. And we're going to talk more about that next. 615-737-1045, the number. RKW continues after this. Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling. Is your water heater not heating? Maybe your sink is leaking or the drain is clogged. Well, hey, available 24/7, 365. Our expert friends at Lee Company, they have you covered for all of your plumbing needs. Look, a lot of these issues, you think, oh, I could do it myself. I can work on this tomorrow. Then tomorrow turns into next week, the next week. It's not getting done. And let's face it, sometimes even when you try to get it done yourself, you're just going to make it worse. Well, right now, enjoy $20 off a plumbing service call for a limited time. And you got to contact Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or go to leecompany.com for an appointment to take care of your home's plumbing from top to bottom. Again, that's $20 off your home's next plumbing service at leecompany.com. Give them a call, 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company, all you need. Monday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW is brewed by 8th and Rose. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Robert Walsh making the show happen. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Kayla will be back with us tomorrow. We also, this is not an April Fool's joke, but coming up at 8 o'clock, we have a keyword for a chance to win tickets to see Taylor Swift. Are you going to be texting the keyword in about 30 minutes?
100%, man.
Nice.
I wonder how her concerts are. It got to be awesome, huh?
I'm just already considering whether or not I can read the cheesy script we've been given to talk about when it comes to the Taylor Swift tickets.
I'll read it if you need me to. I know Savage
I
does
would
it.
love
Actually, that's 100% what we're going to do. That is 100% what we. So Ramon, in his cheesiest announcer voice, at 8 o'clock, is going to give you details.
I want to do that.
On how you can enter with a chance to win Taylor Swift.
T-Swifts, baby. T-Swifts. I'm here for this. I just need you to know that, man.
You say this, and you probably haven't read the blurb that we're supposed to read, but that's going to make it even better. I don't want you to read it yet.
Don't matter.
I'm not going to tell you where to find it.
Don't matter, baby.
You got to dig for it a little bit, obviously, because these things are always made difficult.
I'm here to work for it, man. Get the people what they want, man. Besides, it'll be a lot of fathers trying to win these tickets for their daughters potentially, too. Or just, hey, Nashvillians want to go see her.
Yeah.
There's speculation, too, that Beyonce might be here, too.
Puka on YouTube says, she isn't on tour. Is this a DVD? No, this is for her tour this fall.
Yeah, her tour's coming up this fall. Come on, Puka.
Taylor's always on tour.
You watch us all the time. Like, you know she's going to be here in the fall.
Yeah, because we are a big Taylor Swift show.
Big Swifties out
We
here.
talk Taylor Swift all the time. So, I wanted to do a dramatic reading this morning of all of the Facebook comments in reply to the Zone's post about doing Taylor Swift giveaway. Because there are a lot of you on Facebook that follow the Zone that we're not too happy about this.
Oh, me, oh, my. Can we read some of those at some point? It's technically sports, essentially what it is, right?
A dramatic reading of people telling us to stick to sports.
I can't believe we're giving away Taylor Swift tickets. So this is in the fall.
A chance to win.
A chance to win.
A chance to win.
Okay, so
we're not necessarily. You're not guaranteed to get them.
What?
No.
All right.
It's a national keyword.
Is this also on the same length? I mean, same wavelength as the NFL season too. So we're trying to really pair up.
Fall. That's right.
Yeah, we're trying to pair up Taylor Swift and the NFL again. She's gonna do the Super Bowl at some point. Watch.
Apparently, she said no to it.
Money wasn't right. No,
you
don't
get paid.
You don't get paid for it. That's right.
You get paid, though, in album sales. And she's like, well, why do I need album sales? I have a small army that I could mobilize against a small country if I needed to. If Taylor Swift told a bunch of 16-year-old girls to go to war, they'd say, how high?
They say, how high?
If
yes,
she said jump, they would say, how high?
Oh, me, oh, my.
My girlfriend might be one of them.
Well,
615-737-1045.
That means you're going too, then, Will.
Yeah,
You're definitely going. You're definitely going to a Taylor
If I
Swift.
had a free ticket to a Taylor Swift concert, I'd definitely go. Yeah. I wouldn't pay to go, but I'd go for free.
I like to go to see what songs I know.
I'd go for free to most concerts. Absolutely.
Would you?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Why not?
Snoop Dogg concert, you going to it?
I would pay to see Snoop Dogg. You kidding me?
Okay.
Who do you think I am?
We're good. I am.
I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something. That's what I'm saying.
Get out of here.
All right, let's talk about Zach Edey.
Let's get out of here.
Let's go to Jay in Nashville first. What's up, Jay?
What's up, Jay?
What's going on, fellas?
How we doing?
We doing good. I was listening at the comments that was made this morning about the officiating, and I think Tennessee lost the game. They had Purdue where they wanted them. The ball kept going down to Zach Edey, which was slowing the game down. But if you look at it, there was a time when Awaka and I guess his name Estrella came in the game. They were slowing him down. The problem was the other guys was not helping on the rebounds, getting the loose balls, and things like that. We know the weakness of Purdue is their guards. I really didn't see them put too much pressure on their guards. Didn't turn them over, was letting them come up the floor, losing them on back cuts, things of that nature. And then they didn't do what they do best, get out and run. I felt like they watched Dalton Connect do his thing until Rick Barnes put in Gainey. The game kind of picked up. They got better. But late in the game, if you look, they just lost. The other guys lost their assignments. They didn't help on the loose balls. That's all I have to say about that.
Real quick, have you ever seen a big officiated as fragile as he has been in this NCAA tournament? Meaning, have you ever seen a big only have one foul? When it was pointed out by the color commentators also that, hey, that was a push underneath the rim. And you missed these calls. You're 100% correct. They lost that game. They gave up an 11-point lead. They could not hit the open shots when they needed to. There was a multitude of things that happened. The issue ain't the fact that the Vols lost or Zach Edey is the reason why altogether. The issue becomes and it's not just a Tennessee thing to me, it is he's allowed to push and pull while also being able to be called for easy tick-attack fouls to get him to the free throw line. Do you see that in watching him, not just against the Vols, in general?
Well, this is what I'm going to say, Ramon. That can go both ways. And the only reason why it's brought out is because he's the National Player of the Year. I see kids and other college players get wiped out. We don't make a big issue about it. In situations like that, we have to get tough. The Vols just didn't get tough when it came down to the end of the game, because you remember, if in that case, they have been beat, and I'm pretty sure he's doing the same thing in those other games as he did in this game. So sometimes we have to look at ourselves. I feel nowadays we're looking for excuses. We're looking for excuses because that's what basketball is. You play football, every now and then that happens in football. So I think it's what we call toughness. Okay, we see that's what's happening. Let's tighten down.
Yeah. Thank you for the call, Jay. We appreciate it.
I respectfully, I'll say this, Jay. You're right and I'm right. It's all our opinions on this one. I say respectfully in this situation, no, because towards the end of the game is a different story. We're talking about a guy who, of course, received a lot of fouls or drew a lot of fouls over the course of the entire tournament so far. But he's also having the ability to toss guys around. Again, Jay, and you said, I'm sure you watch high school basketball, college, and the pros. I've never seen a situation where the bigs are allowed to toss guys around and then not get caught. And it's noticeable, not just by the fan bases, but also the people who are supposed to be unbiased that are calling the game too. That ain't a tough thing to me. That is, and it's also to me, as we transition to this conversation about the entire weekend, I'll say this about March Madness, and I may be a conspiracy theorist. I don't like to ever think I am one, but I think the NCAA and March Madness has an identification problem too. It has a superstar problem.
How so?
On the men's and women's side. I saw in the MTSU game against LSU, MTSU was really, Lady Blue Raiders was really over them. And then they started to get calls. I'll even call out South Carolina and watching their games at times, they get calls and I say to myself, wow, I wonder is that for South Carolina? I'm looking at all of these games, even Edey yesterday in Purdue. Like, you understand, there's no fix been put in, but there is a swallow your whistle moments time and time again over the course of the game. I think the superstar element of some games and some teams in college sports is necessary to drive the viewership, drive the conversation, and you absolutely need them. Like, I think there's somewhat a better story for Zach Edey because he gets an opportunity to be an anomaly, a once every 12 years type of player for college basketball that you want to see on the big stage. I think DJ Burns is a great story, although the most legit wins over the course of the weekend, I think, is North Carolina. NC State, North Carolina State. I think they just straight up played big-time ball. I do. But looking at some of the games and the narratives on how this weekend has played out, I say to myself, I think the NCAA has a superstar issue. They want to see their superstars in big moments.
I think you could also make the argument, though, that it's better for the NCAA if Dalton Knecht is that superstar in the Final Four because more neutral fans would rather watch him than Zach Edey. So I think you could, to play in devil's advocate, you could make the same argument for Tennessee and it would still apply that, well, why wouldn't the NCAA want Dalton Knecht in the Final Four?
Because Edey's a show. He's a bigger show.
Yeah, so is Dalton Knecht.
But he's a bigger show. And my thing is the size element of it to me. And again, I think you're right, and I had this conversation last night. It's just I agree with you. Looking at where Dalton's come from, all of that plays into it. But you also have their coach that you said people want to be close to. You also have a dude in Zach Edey who could be potentially back-to-back player of the year. That narrative is there, and it could have been painted for Dalton. I think if he'd have won that game, he probably wins that trophy. But I see an identification issue with March Madness at times that I don't necessarily agree with. I think the matchup between Caitlin Clark and LSU is another thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fouls that came in the LSU game, I was just like, wait a minute. Like, how was this even the case? I think Iowa versus LSU is a thing. I think having South Carolina versus who do they have now? NC State women's is a thing. Texas losing to the women's basketball, I was just like, wow. But in general, I think sometimes, man, you have certain teams that get certain calls and officiate it certain ways that even as an unbiased fan, and I'm unbiased in my approach to watching other teams outside the Vols, you say to yourself, like, I get it sometimes, unless you just outright beating a team. And that's why I say, as far as the NC State men's game go, they outright beat guys this weekend.
Old Army guy on YouTube says, here's a conspiracy for you. Isn't Tennessee currently in litigation against the NCAA? Never going to get the calls.
I won't play that game.
First of all, if we're going to talk about the lawsuit, the state of Tennessee was in litigation with the NCAA. The University of Tennessee had nothing to do with that. UT did not sue anybody. So we can start there. And B, these are part-time employees who are referees. Since when are you, as a part-time employee of a place, acting on behalf of the CEO? Like, if you're a part-time employee at a, retail store, that doesn't mean you're just going to be acting on behalf of the CEO and the largest people in the organization. That's a completely dumb idea. There's no equivalent between Tennessee being in litigation, the state of Tennessee, and then not getting calls at a basketball game. Like, give me a break.
We just to make shots.
That's a completely ridiculous thing to say. This is the way Zach Edey has been officiated all season. This is not a Tennessee problem. In 23 of Purdue's 37 games this year, he has been called for 2 fouls or less. Let me say that again. In 23 of his 37 games this year, he's been called for 2 fouls or less. That is crazy.
For big.
That is absolutely crazy. So in 1,169 minutes of play, Zach Edey has been called for 72 fouls. So 72 fouls in 1,169 minutes of play. For comparison, Tobe Awaka has been called for 87 fouls in 456 minutes of play. In a third of the time, Tobe Awaka has 15 more fouls than Zach Edey does this season.
Insane.
And it's not why Tennessee lost, but it's a conversation that I think more people need to be having, that we have been having since January or February. And it's not about ratings. UW in the chat, there's a bigger agenda for Edey. They want him to succeed for ratings. No, it's not. It's not. If it was about ratings, Duke would have beaten NC State yesterday. North Carolina would have beaten Alabama. Tennessee probably would have beaten Purdue for the sake of Dalton Knecht. And if it was about ratings, you would have a completely different Final Four. You'd have Duke, Kentucky. You wouldn't have them bouncing out in the first round to a random dude from the Midwest we'd never heard of. Like, the whole officials want better ratings thing is one of the dumbest arguments you can possibly be making. He's just a big dude. They don't know how to officiate. It's that simple. It's really that simple.
But again, I said this earlier on the show. My bigger issue comes down to our bigs, though, too. In particular, Jonas Aidoo.
100%.
You have to have more, especially when you have the size. Like, you can't be the guy that's giving up all the space in the paint, all the ground in the paint, whenever you have a smaller guy and Tobe Awaka or a freshman like Estrella come in and they both hold their ground. And then you also get frustrated. Instead, and if you're the type of player that look, I'm not hot from my jumper, my little mid-range that I got, either facilitate it for somebody else or go to the rim. One or the other has to happen. I thought Aidoo's plan this weekend was to show his talents, and it wasn't necessary.
I agree.
I think your main objective should have been keeping the ball away from Zach Edey and being a defensive presence and not being a guy that was taken away. I thought this weekend in general, in both games, Creighton and the Purdue game, I thought Adu took away from the team in moments that was too big for him to be this type of player in those type of moments to me. It was bothersome to me because if it wasn't for Toby getting hot in Creighton, Estrella coming in, and then, of course, having him just hold it down, they would have probably been knocked out in the Sweet 16, if we're being real about it.
It was not a good matchup for Jonas Adu.
No.
The big, thick, physical big men were not good matchups for Jonas Adu all season.
But Estrella came in as a freshman and held his ground.
I thought he was terrific.
And held his ground.
He was absolutely fantastic. He gave Tennessee a chance. They just had to hit all of those open jump shots they had, and they didn't.
They did not.
That's why they lost.
Yep.
I mean, ultimately, Tennessee held Purdue in the 70s. That's not a bad day at the office at all.
Now, and of course, and it was chirped throughout the course of the broadcast too. They wanted to play a half-court set. I think you saw how
100%.
dangerous Tennessee could have been if they'd have got some transition points. And I agree with Jay that called in earlier. He was just like, they didn't put much pressure on them. They did not until, I think, going into the second half, first half of the game. I agree with that. Those were some missteps that ended up happening to where you couldn't force it. But, of course, if you're double-teaming or you're trying to find ways to turn the ball over for them, well, guess what happens? Break glass in case of emergency is throw it into the paint where Zach Edey's camped out at.
Honestly, I thought the game plan from Rick Barnes was perfect.
The only thing I didn't agree with was how they were always caught trailing the point guards or the guards from Purdue. You had Zach Edey walling off the paint, and our guys was a step behind from either trying to double team him and chasing the guards with the ball. And there was an easy two. How many in the paint points did they have on just their point guards going to the hoop? Time and time again.
Right.
That was problematic for me. I thought sliding over the help would have been a good thing, but of course, you slide over the help, what happens? Break glass in case of emergency.
Because you got to protect Edey.
He is a problem.
He's an outstanding basketball player.
Yeah, he is. You have to give that to him.
He's an outstanding basketball player, and he's deserving of National Player of the Year. We've said that all year as well. Dalton Connect should have maybe been in the conversation a bit more, and I have issue with people that decided in November that Zach Edey was that National Player of the Year. I think that's completely ridiculous, but Tennessee lost the game. They deserve to lose. There's no conspiracy. Nobody's putting Purdue in the Final Four because of ratings. All of those things are ridiculous. But we can admit that while still having an honest discussion that this guy is not great for the game, and this team has gotten a massive benefit all season in the way he's officiated. Two things can be true at once. I know that's crazy that we can both rub our stomachs and pat our heads at the exact same time. We can walk and chew gum. I know that's hard for some of you, but I promise you we could do it. 615-737-1045. Your reaction and phones next on Tennessee Purdue.
The future of medicine is here at QC Kinetics. QC is the nation's leader in the most exciting revolution in pain management we've seen in decades, regenerative medicine. If you are tired of achy joints, if your joint pain is keeping you from doing what you love, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Surgery, steroids, drugs, these are no longer your best options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatments that deliver lasting results. We're talking about natural biologics using your body's own power to repair and restore that damaged tissue. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Sheencup. Dr. Sheencup is a pioneer in this field with 20 years of clinical work, tons of research. He wants to get you relief with a needle, not a knife. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more about some exciting options. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
RKW, Ramon, Kayla, and Will is brewed by 8th and Roast on 104.5 The Zone. Wrap it up hour number 2. 615-737-1045 as we go rapid fire on the phones. First to Kathleen, who is in Nolansville this morning. What's up, Kathleen?
Good morning, Kathleen.
Well, hey, guys. How you doing?
Great.
All right.
Well, it's not good, Ramon. I'm a ball for life here, and I'm a little sick right now. I threw up my hand 18 times yesterday because I felt like that's how many free throws that little Zach Eagley got. And because he got 16, am I correct?
He was 14 of 22 from the free throw line.
Oh, isn't that fantastic? Well, listen, I just want to tell you, I congratulate to the big guy that's from Canada. Too bad for our good-looking men that just didn't step up to a 307-4 dude on the court where all the refs were just kind of really wanting him to win. I mean, I knew something was rigged about that game. It's just they were rooting, Rick Barnes was upset. I couldn't take it anymore, but I just was looking on the draft picks of the NBA, and let me tell you, I know the NBA. He is a number 26 draft pick, guys. Don Connect is number 6. So let's say who's going to do well in the NBA. I think Don Connect will. And I hate to say it like that, but that guy is not going to be an NBA player. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I do not want to put down Purdue people, but my ex went there, and yes, I do despise their colors, Ramon. I do despise their colors.
Yes.
I love it. No, cut him down.
Yeah, if your ex
Take him
went
down,
there,
Kathleen.
trash him. No, don't be nice for him. He's an ex for a reason.
Ramon, I love you, dude. I cannot. Ron Slay, my friend that played for our Vols, he is throwing up too. How do you think Ron Slay feels?
Tell me about it.
I can't wait to hear today at 3 o'clock how he feels.
Well, did you tell Ron Slay that Kathleen loves him? And you know what? We're going to be back. We'll be back.
I love it.
We're not
This is the energy we need, Kathleen. Thank you.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
I know.
No, absolutely.
And we got cheated in football too. Am I correct?
That's what I'm telling you. We need to enjoy this ride right here. That's all I'm telling you. 100% I'm with you on this one.
We got Jalen Hyatt. He had the touchdown, and they gave it to Purdue in Music City. There's another thing about Purdue.
Yeah, that's right.
They are becoming our villains.
Thank you, Kathleen, for the call. We appreciate you.
Kathleen was going up right there. I heard it. I'm with you.
Hey, one last dunk, though. She's got a Tennessee man now.
She
got a Tennessee man.
Boy.
She don't need a Purdue man.
Play Rocky Top, man. What, did you almost drop the beat right there? Tell him, Kathleen. Not here for this.
Kathleen must be protected at all costs.
I swear, if you
must be protected at all
anywhere,
costs.
Will. She was close to going. I was real close to riding with you right there, Kathleen, but we got to continue this show, okay? My bad.
Chris in Hermitage next. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Chris?
Morning, gang. Thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
So I got a quick joke for April Fool's Day, if that's all right.
Do it.
All right. What do you call a bear with no teeth?
Bare-mouthed it?
No, a gummy bear. So.
All right. I don't mind that one. I don't mind that one at all.
I'm writing that one down. I like it.
I like that one. So on the game, though, I'm not a Tennessee fan, but I've been following them, obviously, just because I live here in Nashville, and it was a tough loss, but, I do think, to y'all's point, the foul issues with, the big man, Edley, Edie has been a problem all year long. And, while it's not a fair reality, it is still the reality nonetheless. You know what I mean? If you're just talking about Barnes is too good a coach, and the team is too good to go in there not knowing that would probably be the situation they'd fall into at some point across the game because it's been happening all year, right?
Yeah.
And, it's unfortunate, but it's just how it broke. The game plan was working. They made adjustments, and the team couldn't answer down the stretch, and that's just how sports go sometimes. It's a tough one, but I hope that they do make it back as an objective fan of basketball. And then, lastly, Ramon, I'm so glad you mentioned it earlier, because this is the main point I wanted to call in about, is that the NCAA, especially in basketball, definitely does have a superstar problem. When it comes to managing superstars in sports, it takes everybody on and off the court to do it in a healthy manner for the game. From everybody from coaches to ADs and on the court with referees and officials and the way opposing teams play them and such. And right now, the NCAA still hasn't really learned that because, with the nature of how the game went the other night. But I agree with you, Ramon, 1,000%, and I think that you're right about that. The NCAA needs to get better on that front.
Yep.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate it, Chris.
Appreciate the call. Let's get one more in before we finish off hour 2. Let's go to Danny in Hermitage. What's up, Danny?
What's up, Danny?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, I don't understand, and I heard Rick Barnes mention it too. I've heard you mention it, Ramon, saying the refs don't know how to officiate this guy. I don't understand that. If the guy is staying in the paint for, over 30 seconds, you call turnover. If the guy's pushing the guy off, you call a foul. You said Owaka's had so many fouls in so many minutes, and this guy's so few fouls. It sounds like to me, I don't understand the term the refs don't know how to officiate this guy.
Thank you, Danny.
That shouldn't be the case.
I don't understand it either, honestly. I really don't. I don't know if it's the size. It's the fact that guys bounce off of him and they think that it's just because he's so much bigger and that by existing, guys just fall down around him. But he's throwing elbows, and he was chicken winging Zakai Ziegler on a screen that's not a moving screen. It's the standing in the lane part that is the worst part of it. Like there is a video on Twitter that you can go find on X if you just search Zach Edey of him in the lane for 8 seconds at one point yesterday.
And watch what happens. They're going to over-officiate
and
now.
He got an offensive rebound and went up and got fouled. And it's not going to change in the Final Four. I mean, it's not changed all year. Again, this is not a Purdue versus Tennessee problem. This is the way that Zach Edey has been officiated all season. Buck is going to come in here at 10 o'clock and as an Indiana fan, and he's going to tell you all about the way Zach Edey has been officiated all season. 615-737-1045 is our number. The Final Four is set. We'll take a look at the other games of the weekend and the one SEC team that is left and how in the world they pulled it off next.
Nashville is such a great place to live. I'm sure y'all know that. We got great sports, great entertainment, great restaurants, and we also have one of the top volume 4 dealers in the country right now here in Middle Tennessee. Guess who they are? I'll tell you who they are. Two Rivers Ford. If you haven't checked out Two Rivers Ford lately, they've pretty much got something for everyone. If you're a business owner, Two Rivers Ford has a commercial fleet division, an entire team dedicated to getting your work trucks and vans for the best price and the best financing. And they deliver what you need quickly because they know time is money. And did you know Two Rivers Ford also has a mobile experience division? Yes, in 2024, and everything comes to you now, right? Well, Two Rivers Ford comes to you also. If you need maintenance on your vehicle, they'll perform basic maintenance like oil changes or new brakes right at your home or office. Or you can schedule pickup and delivery service. Two Rivers Ford will come to your vehicle, leave you a loaner, service your vehicle, and bring it back when it's ready. And guess what? All these mobile service options are the exact same price you'd pay at the dealership. And when it comes to purchasing a vehicle, Two Rivers Ford has a team of experts for every type of vehicle. They have electric vehicles and hybrids experts, also Bronco experts, work truck experts. You'll always be excellent hands with Two Rivers Ford sales team. And in case you didn't know, the sales team at Two Rivers Ford doesn't work in commission. They're there to service you, answer your questions, bring a vehicle to your home or office to test drive, whatever you need. They just want to make your experience the best it can be. There's a reason Two Rivers Ford has been around for over 4 decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Final Four is set. Let's see how we got there. Tennessee fought valiantly, but fell to Zach Edey and the Boilermakers 72-66. Dalton Connect went out swinging, though, scoring 37 points, shooting 6 of 12 from three. To NC State, who knocked off Duke for the second time in postseason play, 76-64, first in the ACC tournament, now in the NCAA tournament. The NC State Cardiac Pack keeping things rolling now with their eyes set to the matchup against Purdue with DJ Burns and Zach Edey, getting everybody excited. And Dallas Police are still searching for Kansas City Chief wide receiver Rashee Rice as part of an ongoing investigation of a potential hit-and-run accident. Police determined the two drivers, one in a Corvette, the other in a Lamborghini, were, quote, speeding in the far left lane before drivers lost control, causing the Lamborghini to veer onto the shoulder and hit the center median wall. This caused a chain reaction collision that involved 4 other cars. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon, Kayla, and Will for the next 2 hours, beginning your Monday morning. Hope it was a great Easter weekend and a great Monday morning so far. We've got Ramon Foster, Robert Walsh, I'm Will Bowling. Kayla Anderson has the morning off. You join us on the phone lines at 615-737-1045. The Final Four is set. UConn and Alabama, NC State and Purdue. We've got a ton to discuss this morning. We've also got a little bit of a disrespectful piece of Titans analysis from over the weekend. We're going to get into in 20 minutes. We have been all Tennessee hoops and March Madness this morning. We'll talk a little bit of NFL football coming up in 20 minutes. But it is time for Ramon Foster to become a Big J journalist, a Big B broadcaster, and tell you how you can win a chance or have a chance to win Taylor Swift tickets. Take it away, Ramon.
Here we go, everybody. Calling all Swifties and start picking out your Eras outfit and making those friendship bracelets, Will, because we just might fulfill your wildest dreams with our Tay-Tay Flyaway. You and your besties, hear me out. You and your besties could win one of 3 trips to see Taylor Swift on the Eras Tour this fall, including round-trip air, 2 nights hotel, $500 spending cash, and 2 of the hottest tickets on the planet. Text the national keyword Taylor to 95819 now to enter for your chance to win.
That is keyword Taylor to 95819. Don't call us. We have nothing to do with this. Taylor, 95819. That is the text to send. You're welcome, Robert, for keeping people from calling you about, where are those Taylor Swift tickets?
How do I get them tickets, man? My daughter wants to go.
I just want the $500 spending cash. Can I get that instead of the tickets?
That's the only thing I wanted to talk about. What 500-year-old man wrote this script? I got some spending cash as opposed to regular cash, which is not of the spending variety. You just put that in your sock drawer. You just stuff that in your mattress. That's regular cash. That isn't real spending money.
Hey, buddy,
now.
Can you head on down to the store? I'm out of milk. Can you get me a gallon of milk? But hey, if you do it, I'll give you some spending cash in return.
Just keep the change.
It's so funny that in a promo Ramon is reading of Taylor Swift song puns, Ramon just had to say friendship bracelets, Tay-Tay Flyaway. It's the spending cash part of it that we immediately underline.
The spending cash. I want some Gator wants some walking around money.
Shut up.
You hear me?
Hey, Gator don't play.
Gator don't play that. I want some walking around money.
I am changing the script for the rest of the week to say walking around money.
Yeah. Heck yeah. What we doing here, man? Hey, y'all text national keyword right now, Taylor, to 95819. All right, get you some of that walking around Monday.
You enter for your chance to win.
So many.
I can't even get through it. We're doing this every day this week too, by the way, if you didn't know. So we have literally a chance.
I'm doing it every time too.
Taylor Swift tickets every day this week on a sports station.
Cody.
Ramon will be reading that script every single day. Kayla we will turn all of our mics off. There will be no interjections from Kayla or myself. We'll just let Ramona go.
Hey, Gator wants some walking around money. That's all I'm telling you. Cody in the YouTube chat, he understand where I'm coming from with that one right there.
Kevin on Facebook says, y'all are unhinged without Kayla. This is great.
Hey, I can't believe he put Tay-Tay in there. Who decided that's what Tay-Tay Flyways? And I'm here for it. 100% I'm here for this, all right? I don't want y'all ever think that I'm not.
Anyway.
Hey, friendship bracelets. Taylor's 30-plus years old.
Thought he was gonna ask if we wanted to make them.
We wanted to make them. I know. I thought the same thing.
Why don't we have friendship bracelets?
We ain't text the number. That's why.
That's why.
That's why. Start calling all Swifties.
Taylor 95819. So anyway, there's that.
Gator, I can't stop saying Gator wants some walking around money now.
Travis in Nashville gets us back on the rails here on the phones this morning. What's up, Travis?
What's up, Trav?
Travis, what's up?
He must be texting right now.
Travis has lost his opportunity.
We lost momentum with you, Trav. We believed in you. He must be texting the national number right now.
Travis will not be getting a friendship bracelet from either of us.
One. Oh, me oh my.
How about UConn in a 30-0 run?
What a transition right there.
Against Illinois. No, I mean, that's about how Illinois felt coming out for the second half. They were busy making friendship bracelets. Hey, we're tied up with UConn. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
77-52 win for the Huskies over the Fighting Illini. That is the largest run UConn has had since Dan Hurley took over in 2018. There's no need for me to have a big B broadcaster transition there because I wanted to simulate to you how Illinois felt.
Hey, man, what a run that was. So the UConn is good. They're that good.
Lucas and I had it on in the broadcast booth for the Nashville SC Columbus Crew game over the weekend, and we were just kept watching, looking around. We'd call the game, turn around every couple minutes, see what the score is. We're looking at each other at halftime, like, man, it's kind of a good game. And then I turned around at one point. What?
Is that one of the largest runs to ever come out of college sports right there?
They also, I'm glad you asked, Ramon, became the third team in NCAA tournament history to win by 25-plus points in each of its two games leading up to the Final Four. Yeah, I think it is one of the largest runs in tournament history.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. They go inside, outside. They got depth. They got bodies. They got athleticism. UConn is that type of team in this tournament. In years past, we've talked about, you remember the Jay Wills Dukes and those North Carolina teams, and Kansas is, and when UK is that good too, you was like, oh yeah, they're slated to win. Just pencil them in if you're, not a biased Vols fans like myself that picked them to win the national championship. You probably pencil in UConn, right? That's the type of squad that they have right now. It will be fascinating to see how they match up in the Final Four. But they can dictate whatever happens in games from what I've seen from this squad.
The longest run in NCAA history is a 40-0 run where Ohio drubbed the Bobcats of Cleveland State.
Oh, my Lord.
Isn't that Bobcats versus Bobcats, too?
It might be this. I don't know.
Yeah, Ohio's the Bobcats.
Okay, maybe they're not the Bobcats, and maybe Cleveland State.
Cleveland State is like the Trojans. Either the Trojans or the Titans.
Either way, they did not put up a fight.
What year was that?
That was in 2020.
Oh, this was recent.
Cleveland State are the... I don't know.
Cleveland State? Why would you know Cleveland State?
I think they're the Vikings. That's right. I knew it was like a Trojan or like some kind of warrior. Yeah. They beat somebody back in the day, in like 2005 or 6, I want to say. They beat like a big, big team. And that's why I remembered.
But speaking of UConn, I heard one of the announcers make this statement over the course of the game. Is this one of the first tournaments where offensively teams are winning and it's not because of defense? Like, you look at the good defensive teams, like Alabama, we talked about them being, hey, you just beat them defense. No, they're scoring. You look at UConn, the same exact thing. And the only game, well, I say this too, NC State. Scoring, outscoring team. I know that's the objective of it, but you expect in tournament play defense to show up.
It's interesting. 3 of the 4 teams also play through their center and have a big man who is kind of their guy. And Klingon for UConn, Edey obviously for Purdue, DJ Burns for NC State, playing an inside-out kind of game. And then you have Mark Sears in Alabama, 89-82, Alabama over Clemson on Saturday night. Down 13 points in the first half. Alabama stuck to their game. Mark Sears, program's single-season record holder in scoring, had 18 of his game-high 23 points in the second half, including 6 threes. And congratulations, Alabama. You're in your first Final Four. Here's UConn.
Mark Sears is cold, too. That lefty 3, man, looks good.
When he is hot, Alabama can beat anybody in college basketball. And congratulations to them. Nate Oates, outstanding coach. They deserve it. They earned it.
They did. They did earn it, man, and look good doing it too, man. They fought off a really good blue blood this past weekend to win. I know a lot of people, of course. There's some polarizing people in this this year's tournament. Baycott being another one of those guys. It's just like, okay, well, you finally beat them, of course, So it'll be fascinating watching this all shake out real soon with Bama. Again, they got some shooters. That seems to be the theme this time around. I know somebody brought up earlier, what does Rick Barnes have to do to get shooters? Like, our guys just got to make the shots. They're open, and the ability to get open, too.
Tyler on YouTube says Cleveland State beat 4-seed Wake in 2009. That was it. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Thank you, Tyler.
There you go.
615-737-1045 is our number. There was a piece of NFL analysis over the weekend that I thought was totally disrespectful and a little unfair to the Tennessee Titans. We'll tell you what that is next.
Fellas, if you've been feeling tired and grumpy and not from March Madness, have loaded a lack of motivation and drive, have weight gain, a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. Just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get the results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office. It's a concierge medicine for men. The physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatments for each patients. Most health insurance is accepted for treatment, and they have affordable and convenient treatment options, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments for established patients that ship directly to your home each month. So there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. Right now at Low T Center, it's only $25 to get your T levels tested, with results back in about 25 minutes. Make your health and quality of life a priority. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Monday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will is brewed by 8th and Roast, RKW, at Ramon, Kayla, Will on Twitter. That is where you can chime in on our question of the day. Who is your least favorite player one of your teams has played? We have one from Mike who says Ray Lewis.
I'll roll with that one.
It's fair.
That's very fair right there.
I imagine that a lot of you today are thinking Zach Edey. And I don't blame you.
Do not blame you.
Do not blame you at all. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. I was reading The Athletic over the weekend, and there was an article written by Deontay Lee regrading the 2023 NFL Draft. Which teams had the best and worst rookie classes? Ramon, if you were grading the Titans' 2023 draft class, what would you give it?
Off of effectiveness, guys who played and guys you can see being on the roster in year 2, I give it a B. Solid B. I think you needed more out of Josh Wiley. I do think so. Watching what Jalen Duncan can turn into, I think it's probably your 2 biggest question marks of that draft class, considering you didn't have a 3 this past year, I don't think. What was it this past year you didn't have? May have been a 3. Yeah, I give it a B. Especially you had to make a hard decision, too, on moving on from Derek, either because of his contract or because you trust Tajay more with what you saw out of him. Peter Skoronski, guard, tackle, transition.
Your 3 was Tajay Spears. You didn't have a 4.
Tajay was 3. You didn't have a 4. Okay. Yeah. I think it was B this year, considering where this team was, how those guys contributed, all the way down to Colton Dowell.
I think a B is fair. Do you have an issue with The Athletic and Deontay Lee writing it was a C- for the Titans? And the reasoning, Peter Skoronski was the first step toward rebuilding Tennessee's offensive line. And he looks like he will be one of the top young guards in the NFL. Running back Tajay Spears still has to prove himself durable enough for an increased workload. Fair. But he averaged more than 4.5 yards per carry as a rookie, and 70% of his yardage came after contact. The big question here is quarterback Will Levis, whom the Titans will be evaluating closely in 2024. Is it fair to say the Titans' whole draft class success in 2023 just hinges on their quarterback?
It's always going to be the national narrative, the quarterback. I mean, even as a second rounder, he's going to be one that's most talked about because he's the one that's holding the ball every single play. Peter Skoronski being the guard, his best thing to do is to just be really good to great and stay on the field, right? Those are the issues you have. But, yeah, I think it is contingent upon Will Levis and his play, and does he turn into the franchise quarterback? If it is, one, that's a home run hit. You set your franchise up for years to come, and I do think 2024 is a big test for him. We spoke about this, I think, last week, Will, on Thursday or so. His timeline is sped up. What was we talking to? It said his timeline is sped up simply because he doesn't have the fifth-year option. So a guy that needs 3 years for a fifth-year option for a first-rounder, he essentially has 2. This is his fifth-year option type of year in year 2.
Right.
Yeah.
This is kind of year 3 for a guy who's not a first-round pick.
It is.
Year 2 is. Who is the Titan then that out of that draft class or just in general that you expect to take the biggest step forward in 2024? If this is a C- grade, you're put in the tier of small short-term gains, high long-term potential. That is the category that The Athletic is putting the Titans in terms of their draft. Who makes the biggest step forward this season?
Man, I got to go with Peter. I want to go with Peter or either Tajay Spears. Peter Skoronski, before I expect him to have a full offseason of getting stronger, understanding angles, having a year to rest for a little bit too. Like, that's one thing about rookie players in general. You go a full calendar year of training in college, starting in January, spring practice, summer practices, summer workouts, and then the season. And then you complete that season, and you go right into combine training. And then you go from combine training to visits. Like, you don't have an entire year. So this time around, you expect guys to make their year 2 jump, which is why coaches, they emphasize that so much. What you did to get our attention in year 1 will not be the same thing to get our attention in year 2, because you have the ability to rest for a second, get your body back. If you don't end the season injured like Colton Dowell did, And that wasn't his fault, of course. But now you understand how to be pros. This is your second loop around the NFL sun. So expecting Peter Skoronski to be better is huge. And also Tajay, too, because the incorporation of course, Tony Pollard, I think is big for him, big for this offense. Those are my two guys, but Peters is number one.
My answer is also Peter Skoronski. For the same reason of him giving up 5 sacks last season, the appendix stuff, losing the weight midseason, and trying to tread water and survive a little bit coming back. So for the sake of argument, outside of Peter Skoronski, I think I might go with Chig Okonkwo. And the only reason I don't want to go with Chig Okonkwo is because we put too high of expectations on him going into last season. But under a new coach that is so offensive-minded, with a quarterback that should be better in Will Levis, and a scheme that will be designed to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as it will be, there's a chance for Chig Okonkwo, if he can get open quickly, to turn some heads with the ball in his hand. That, I think, is what excites me about him this season, is the fact that the Brian Callahan scheme is going to be built around Will Levis throwing the ball as quickly as he can and just getting it out, go. So that is more opportunities for Chig to maybe be his best self. I'm not sure he is as good without the ball as he is with it. That is his strength as a ball carrier in space, and you can't hip drop tackle him now. I mean, you've got to, honestly, it's going to be harder to get him down.
It is. In our YouTube chat, Jameson said to the answer, you got to hope it's Levis that makes the biggest jump. That's the realest answer of them all. Your franchise, goes or doesn't on the shoulders of the franchise quarterback. That's the real answer to me, but I'm with you on that. The role players in making sure that Levis is successful is a Chig. Because we've already heard Calvin Ridley say he wants the ball. That's one of the things that was most attractive about the potential of Brian Callahan's offense is getting the ball to your playmakers. Brian Callahan has also been documented in saying that he wants people to be able to have the ability to score points for him, get points on the board, score touchdowns, move the chains. That's where Chig has to play a bigger point, Will. And I love the fact that you mentioned how quick the ball has to come out for a guy like him. I do think in those screens when he's had the ability to get linemen in front of him, I do think at the line of scrimmage he's athletic enough to be able to make one guy miss and get into space. And the thing for Chig to me isn't we're not going to ask Chig Okonkwo for 40 yards a catch, like the opportunity for him to get 40. No, we need a tight end here that's capable of getting you 7, that's capable of 3rd and 4. He gets you 6. Or those strains for the hard yards that we spoke about, because, again, the tackling techniques have to be adjusted for guys that are his size. He's athletic. The biggest issue that he had last year is seeing the ball, watching it, see the spiral, hitting his hands, and then hitting the ground.
Yeah.
He got to fix that. And if he's going to a short passing offense, dink and dunk is what some people call it. I call it moving the chains. He's got to show up, has to show up.
He's an athlete. There's no doubt about it with the ball in his hands. As far as Peter Skoronski goes, Ramon, how would you classify a successful year 2? Is there a sack number? Is there a pressure number? If you are Bill Callahan, Brian Callahan, and Rand Carthon, what do you measure success as in 2024 for Peter Skoronski?
Moving the line of scrimmage first in the run game. I think that's huge. Staying on the field for offensive linemen. You can't catch the ball. Ain't nothing else you need to do but stay on the field and stay healthy. I think that's crucial. And it wasn't like he had nothing crazy go on. But sack totals, keeping it under 5, Will. The ability to show that you're getting progressively better in pass protection and controlling the line of scrimmage. If he does get Joe Alt to the left of him, growing up really, really fast. They both will be learning a new offense, considering the coaching changes, but his ability to be a leader, vocal leader, to his left and to his right, also with Cushenberry, I think bodes a lot. You won't see his growth in the stat line. He has to be a guy in this offense where he gets noticed, Will. Whereas if they're running quick screens, Peter Skoronski's out front. If there is a play down the field, he's cleaning guys up. That's where guys like him, who are first-round linemen, get their praise, to where we're not asking or saying at the end of the year in December, man, how did he get snubbed as far as the Pro Bowl? I think in year 2 for an individual like Peter Skoronski, who comes in as an 11 overall pick, who has the pedigree, who changed position, this is the year for guys like him to at least start striking that match when it comes down to his name being mentioned as, hey, he's one of the guys for the future. The same way they did with Quentin Nelson up north, right? That's the same conversation that I think Peter Skoronski has to have this year. Dominance and aggressiveness is what I need from a young guy because he still doesn't know what he doesn't know as far as the experience. Like, he's going to see Danico, right? Being able to keep Danico at the line of scrimmage and not have him be a problem for the Titans, those are the tests that he has to pass this week. Or Jacksonville, or even DeForest Buckner out of Indianapolis. Those are the types of games he has to have. We don't hear those guys mentioned. That's when his profile rises and this entire offense, I think, goes up because you can't say Peter Skoronski's by himself. Lloyd Cushenberry's a dude. If you get Joe Alt, he's a dude. And you just got to say, no matter what, when this team needs a yard or protection, the left side is going to be fine. And everybody else holds up their end of the bargain on the right. I don't want to dismiss the right side either. I hate when that type of stuff happens. But if we're looking at a top 10 pick and Joe Alt being here also, then that whole entire left side's got to be dominant.
Is it fair to say if he gives up more than 2 sacks next season, it's a little bit of a disappointment?
Nah, that's not fair.
What's the number then that is fair?
I say if he keep it around 5, 6.
He was 5 this year. If he's going to take a step forward, to me, as the number 11 overall pick, that number's got to get better.
But he was also, the issue with it being 5 last year is he missed 5-6 games too. That's a high volume right there.
That's
so
fair.
If he keep it 5 at over 17 plus games, I can live that life for you. That's one every 2 games.
5, though, is still the 9th most among guards with 20% of volume played last year. 5 is still a lot.
It's still a lot.
For me, the burden of proof's a little bit higher for the number 11 overall pick.
I mean, you know what you're asking, though? Or 5. I said under 5.
For me, with a better quarterback who's more mobile, Will Levis than what he had in Ryan Tannehill last year, a better left tackle beside him than Andre Dillard, and I know what you're saying, well, we don't even know who the left tackle is. I don't care. It has to be better than Andre Dillard. With a center next to him who's getting paid bags of cash, I'm going to push back and say Peter Skoronski more than 2 sacks. I'm a little disappointed. I think that highly of him. I don't want that to be a negative comment, but as the number 11 overall pick at that position, as an interior lineman where interior linemen are not often picked, he's got to be great this year. You're bringing in OL Jesus, as 3HL says. He has risen indeed. You're bringing in OLJ. I need to see it. I really do. And then, of course, we also see in the chat AJ, who again says he's not a guard, though, Ramon. Come on, Ramon. He's not a guard.
Hey, you should go text the Taylor Swift, okay, text line and win those tickets for saying something like that.
Even though the GM, the head coach, the O-line coach, the last GM,
everybody.
Pretty much everybody in the league thinks he's a guard, but in the chat, though, Ramon, he's still a tackle.
I hear you. 2 sacks. That's fair, though, Will. As far as I get that. I'm still holding them under.
High bar.
Yeah, that's a high bar. I'm still holding them under 5 because there will be this growth. My thing for Peter Skoronski is aggressiveness, seeing impact plays, cleaning guys up. That, to me, is more forgivable than him giving up 5 sacks. I'll forgive the 5 or keeping it under 5 if I see more aggressiveness. Say what you want to, but Taylor Lewan and when Roger Saffold and Ben Jones was here, you never questioned the mentality and toughness of that group.
100%.
I do think this group here has to establish a level of what's the word I'm looking for without getting put off air, man. I don't want to. They need a jerk. They need a jerk or two.
Nastiness.
Yeah, nastiness. I don't want to make – well, I'll say it. Screw it. One of the things we had to establish as a young offensive line in Pittsburgh when we were coming up finding ourselves too, go be goons. So much so that it was incorporated around the building, the goon squad is showing up. Okay, now you know how to play. Let me go see – you understand the plays. You understand what the NFL entails. You understand how you grow in the expectations. Go be goons. And I think this group should have enough leadership with Cushenberry being here, if Bronsko's around, if Peter has his second year, that they have a level of nastiness about them now moving forward. Because if you don't, it can be very problematic with where the AFC South is going. They have to be a nasty group.
Let's go to Jesus in California. Calling in early with us, waking up early on the West Coast, 615-737-1045. What's up, Jesus?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I just want to say I love the podcast. I try to catch it whenever I can in the morning.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Definitely. But my question is about the Titans draft. So the consensus has us taken out at 7, which I think would be great. So my question is about that second round pick. What do you guys think they do with it? And also, what do you guys think the best ideal situation would be right there at 38?
Sure. Thank you, Jesus. Appreciate the call. Number 38. What do you think? What's the position most likely to be taken in the second round?
Most likely to be taken? I'm going defense, and I'm going D tackle.
Okay.
I'm a bang on that table till I can't no more.
My guy T'Vondre Sweat there from Texas?
No way. Or my guy out of Florida State.
Braden Fisk.
I like either one of them because I think the presence to get upfield and affect the quarterback has got to be huge. If everybody in the AFC South believes in a quarterback, what's the best way to get them off their game plan? And it's probably having guys that can get after the quarterback. Braden Fisk is one of those guys. T'Vondre Sweat is another one of those guys. And as much as I've been banging on the drum for Dallas Turner in the first round too to play that game, I think you have to build in-house depth through the draft with guys in this year's draft if you can. And a 38th overall pick, I think T'Vondre will be there. Braden Fisk may be there. And there's a multitude of other dudes that are capable of helping out Big Jeff. Big Jeff, again, will find himself in the Aaron Donald conversation where your best D tackle is double team. I'm not comparing Jeff to Aaron Donald in a sense. I'm comparing Jeff to how teams will play and affect him. And again, Sebastian Joseph Day is a guy that's very capable too, but again, you need depth. What's the quality of depth for this group too? I know they did some future signings and stuff like that in the offseason, but when you can have your guys that you draft to play your style of ball, I'm going D tackle.
I would either go edge rusher or right tackle with the 38th overall pick. Depends on who the right tackle is. At that point, if there's any chance at all that Tyler Guyton is there in the second round, you sprint to the podium and you take him, and you've got your 2 tackles maybe for the next 6, 7, 8 years. I don't think Tyler Guyton will be available at pick 38, the tackle out of Oklahoma. But if there's any chance that he is, you sprint. I'd be fine doubling up on tackle with the first 2 picks.
That'll be 8 straight offensive picks.
Good. Perfect.
Didn't even bat an eye at that.
Sweet. I'm down. I'm more in the trade back camp on the second round pick than I am the first round pick, though. I really am.
You are?
I think if you could pick up another pick in this draft, another 3 or 4, if somebody's desperate enough to go to 38 for one of those wide receivers that they really want, let them.
Yeah.
Move back into the 50s or 60s and get a 3 or a 4 back in return.
I feel that.
I think you need a premier playmaker at 7, but at 38, I think you've got more flexibility to move back there. 615-737-1045 is our number if you want to jump in. Coming up, there was a moment on a television broadcast over the weekend that has a fan base known for making other people crying themselves. You're going to want to hear this audio when we come back.
Hey, it's Kayla Anderson for the Wang Vision Institute. Looking to get your eyes checked. Maybe it's been a minute or so. This is the place to go. Doctors are incredible here. They'll get you on the right track when it comes to your eye care. They also will get you on the right track when it comes to your skin, maybe making it look a little nicer this summer. Intense pulse light treatments, they have introduced those. If you're wondering what they are, well, the IPL is a photofacial treatment, rejuvenating the skin. Maybe you've had sun damage. You see those dark spots appear that you're now that you're getting a little older. Treatments also even out your skin tone, texture, as well as hyperpigmentation. So for more information on IPL treatments, along with other services, you can visit Wang Vision Institute today Also, they offer those free online vision seminars that will take place tomorrow. So every Tuesday, actually, at 6:45 p.m., you can sign up for that, RSVP, and schedule your free consultation and treatment today at wangvisioninstitute.com.
Monday morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast. Weekend headlines and more reaction coming up in 15 minutes. Andrew Catalon, play-by-play broadcaster for CBS Sports, scheduled to join us at 9:20 this morning. He was on the call for the Midwest Regional Finals over the weekend, including Tennessee Purdue yesterday. We'll ask his perspective on watching Zach Edey from that close. 615-737-1045 is our number. So I don't know if you guys watched any baseball over the weekend.
I did.
If you watched the baseball game I called, you saw a 7-inning game as Georgia beat Tennessee 16-2. And I don't think I will be asked back again to SEC Network Plus and Tennessee to call any more games because Tennessee got absolutely blitzed in that game and then came back and won the series.
Yeah.
But that's not what I am bringing up here. I don't know if you guys saw what Brandon Gaudin, the television voice of the Atlanta Braves, said over the weekend. It was yesterday when the Braves took on the Philadelphia Phillies. So obviously Phillies and Braves arch rivals. Phillies have knocked the Braves out of the playoffs 2 straight years. The Phillies actually raised a banner over the weekend that is a powder blue flag with red 2023 letters. No, they did not win anything last year. They just made the NLCS. Literally, they raised a banner for making it 2 rounds of the playoffs, which is just fantastically rich for Philadelphia sports fans. But Philadelphia sports fans, in a feud with Braves shortstop Orlando Arcia last year, now boo Orlando Arcia every time he comes to the plate because he was videoed in Game 2 of the NLDS last year in the clubhouse saying, "Attaboy Harper," after Bryce Harper was caught on the base pass as the final out in the Braves' dramatic win over the Phillies in Game 2 of last year's NLDS. Then there was so much booing over the weekend for Phillies fans against Braves fans. There were Phillies boos for Phillies players. They boo their own team. This is the city that once booed Santa Claus. And then Brandon Gaudin, the television voice of the Braves, says this yesterday.
I really do enjoy the boos. It just makes it fun. This place more than any other, one way or another. It's either against your team, for your team, for the opponent. Just boo everybody. Just a lot of boos. You can't get through an inning without somebody getting booed in either uniform. 2 balls and no strikes. Orlando grounded out back in the 2nd inning. He's 0 for 1. Even on Easter. Yeah, right. No let up. Doesn't matter. They might have booed Christ after the resurrection. I think so. I don't know. I wasn't there that day. No one is immune.
No one is immune. It's a rough place, man. It is. He might have booed Jesus after the resurrection.
My favorite part of that is I don't know, I wasn't there. Here's the 2-1.
Here's the 2-1. Yeah, right behind it. Right behind it, man.
Oh, he said they might have booed Christ after the resurrection.
I enjoyed their
On
stuff,
Easter.
man. And baseball, the way they commentate games, or call games, because it's so many random conversations and little jokes that you just got to catch. And that was one of them right there. Philly, of all places. And they breathe that, too.
Oh, they love it.
They love it.
It's the funny thing to me is that Philadelphia fans are so unique that they are so tough and they boo and they spit in your face and will say terrible things to you and about you and all these things. But then when you press them on it and come with the same energy back at them, it's hilarious how much they whine and cry like little losers they are. I mean, literally, it's the 2nd place city.
Yeah. Hey, when was the last time they won it? How far back was that?
Eagles.
Eagles got one.
That was what, 2017?
Was it that far back now?
Yep.
Ain't that long
2016
ago.
was Pat's Falcons. 2017 Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Phillies, they raised up one for making the playoffs, though?
They raised a flag.
Golly.
For making the NLCS. They said it was in honor of their playoff run.
I'm a fan of celebrating everything. Like, everything deserves a little acknowledgement, right? But in the world of sports, like, sometimes you just got to set your standards a little bit high when it comes to that type of stuff. Not okay.
I love it. I love the city of Philadelphia. I do feel like Brandon Gaudin does, though. But I like the hatred.
I mean,
I like the booing. Like I like that they're kind of soft, but that they come after you. I think it's fun. It's what sports are about.
You said it's kind of soft.
They are. I mean, literally, you go back at them, and it's hilarious that they are booing the Braves shortstop for something that he said, like, away from cameras, that was off the record in the locker room, that somebody took as like, oh, he was making fun of Bryce Harper, and put it on the record.
It's like, yeah, man.
What do you want him to do?
Yeah, we beat him, man. He messed up. That's all right. Like, why are we trying to make excuses for people? Like, it's okay for our superstars to mess up every once in a while.
And it's okay for them to not like each other.
Yeah. I mean, as long as they're not fighting or just saying egregious stuff. Like, come on now.
Especially pros, right? Like, it's different for college kids where there is still an element, at least maybe there was an element, of life lessons.
Yeah.
Getting a degree. These are professional athletes making millions of dollars.
Like, what are we talking about here?
They can take it. It's really okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely will. Things I'm here for, this type of hate.
Braves lost yesterday. They do take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies in the opening weekend. I watched a little bit of it, but it's just the best sport to have. I do love this time of year, and you know how much I love baseball, just in general. I do love about baseball that there's a game every night. Like, that's the fun part of my routine now. I don't get as high or low on the results. The Braves have taught me again when they choke against the Phillies the last 2 years in the playoffs that getting mad over an April loss to the Mets is just not worth it because they're going to win 100 games and still be there anyway. But it's just fun to have something to watch every night. That, you know, you're making dinner and there's some kind of sporting event on every night.
That Dodgers and Cardinals game last night was good.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it was
man,
good. It was
what
good
a
last night, and it was good on Saturday night, too. The Dodgers are down 2 in the ninth. Mookie Betts, Nashville's own, hit a homer. Yep. They went into extras, and then they still ended up losing to the Cardinals.
Well, they came back last night. Muncy hit a bomb yesterday. God, he knew it as soon as he left his bat. He dropped it and just pimped it.
Joey on Facebook Live says, it all goes back to A.J. Brown. You're Y-O-U-R, still mad. Oh, buddy.
A little English.
It's okay, Joey.
That's all good, baby. English gets me to it.
Surely those Phillies series wins ended in a playoff, ended in a World Series the past 2 years, right? Oh, it didn't?
No, it didn't.
Oh, my gosh. Second place city. Coming up, hour number 4, headlines we've not yet gotten to. The last month for DJ Burns has been fascinating, and the NFL is becoming obsessed with him. But there is one thing that I think might be an April Fool's joke that has been tweeted this morning from a national NFL reporter about DJ Burns. We'll tell you what it is next.
The hottest ticket in the city is the Preds, okay? And it's the last home Preds game of the season and Fan Appreciation Night on Saturday, April 13th. See the Preds take on the Columbus Blue Jackets at 7 p.m. at Bridgestone Arena. It's a big Saturday night in Smashville as the Preds continue a hot streak in their march to the playoffs. You can get your tickets for the game at NashvillePredators.com/tickets, okay? And the Preds are pushing to the playoffs, and the best way to score the most savings and access to the Stanley Cup playoff tickets is by becoming a season ticket member. Lock in your seats now at NashvillePredators.com/season tickets.
9:01. What's going on? Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Final Four is set. Let's see how we got there. Yesterday, Tennessee fought valiantly, but fell to Zach Edey and the Boilermakers 72-66. Dalton Connect went out swinging, though, scoring 37 points, shooting 6 of 12 from three. To North Carolina, where NC State knocks off Duke for the second time in postseason play, 76-64. First time in the ACC tournament, now again in the NCAA tournament. The NC State Cardiac Pack keeps things rolling now with their sights set on Purdue, as the DJ Burns and Zach Edey matchup has everyone excited. In the NFL, Dallas police are searching for Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice as part of an ongoing investigation of a potential hit-and-run accident. Police determined the two drivers, one in a Corvette, the other in a Lamborghini, were, quote, speeding in the far left lane before drivers lost control, causing the Lamborghini to veer onto the shoulder, hit the center median wall that caused a chain reaction collision involving 4 other cars. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 4 of RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Robert Walsh is behind the glass hitting all the right buttons, including ours. Kayla Anderson will be back with us tomorrow. I feel like we have not had enough Bert in our morning today. What's up?
I know, man.
Have you heard these updates? My voice is hanging on by its thread.
It's fair.
I hate it when people have voices that sound like this. I don't know what it is.
I do too.
My girlfriend's like, "Oh, you sound raspy. It's kind of hot," but I don't hear that. It just sounds sick and gross and unclean to me, and I don't know what to do about it.
Tell her you ain't Jada Kiss.
Yeah, come on. What is this supposed to be?
Like when I listen to a podcast and someone's like croaking through the whole thing, I will just listen to something else.
I would prefer if people didn't talk.
You sound fine, though.
Really? Yeah. Okay, good.
I cannot tell.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better.
You sound a lot better than you did at 6 this morning, too.
Because when I started reading, every time I'm like, oh, man, my voice is messed up. But you teased something before the break about DJ Burns being an NFL prospect.
Yep.
And that is the most excited I have been all morning. And I'm wondering if both of us saw the same tweet, and I'm hoping that it's not an April Fool's joke.
All right. Yeah, so Peter Schrager, NFL Network, senior national NFL writer for Fox Sports, says this on Twitter. I think this is an April Fool's joke. I do. I'm curious if you think it is not. Spoke to and texted multiple scouts/GMs about NC State big man DJ Burns as an NFL tackle prospect over the last 24 hours. He is listed at 6'9", but is probably 6'7". A+ footwork. Would get big turnout and potentially money if he participated in a pro day /workout the week after the Final Four. Bull crap. No shot that is real, right?
I think it's real.
No shot.
I think it's real.
There's no way. The guy's never played football at the collegiate level.
I feel that. Okay. I fully get where you're coming from on that one, Will, but I'm going to lean in on that one and say I think Schrager's right on that one.
Oh, my gosh.
Somebody's going to entertain him. And I'd even say he would end up on somebody's, at minimum, practice squad.
There's no
Development.
I just don't.
I'm leaning into it, Will. Development is what I'm telling you. I would sign him.
I'm calling April Fool's joke on that.
I would sign him. 100%. That size, that footwork, number, like I will say, his vertical probably ain't nothing, okay? He scoots down the court, boy. He scoots down the court like no athlete I've ever seen before. He don't jump. He just uses his body, man. That's all he want to do.
Tennessee legend.
Who will
now be asked to vanquish Zach Edey. I don't think I can sit through another Purdue basketball game. I really don't. I'm going to probably have to in the national championship when they play against UConn. And it is win because congrats to Alabama, but that is that's a gauntlet, man.
It is.
No disrespect to them at all, but UConn's going on 30-0 runs against Elite Eight teams. But DJ Burns, Zach Edey is going to be fascinating.
I want to see how they call it against him. That's the thing about him. Like, DJ Burns can't wait to get active.
You know they will.
But he loves to get active, and he can't move him like he did Adu or other guys that he's facing this tournament. That's the issue. But we will see where the officials are with how they officiate between DJ and Edey. If we find DJ Burns with 3 fouls in the first half and Edey not so much, that's when it becomes super problematic for
That's
me.
what's going to happen.
I'm gonna turn it off.
What's going to happen? I genuinely have no interest watching Purdue play basketball anymore.
I got to see if he can hold up still.
It's not entertaining to me.
I'm going to check it out.
Tyler says Antonio Gates never played college ball, took his team to the Elite Eight, and got drafted from there. Curious if DJ does the same.
I'm telling you, I'd sign him. If he had an interest and I had a conversation with him and say, hey, football's a little bit different. It's every single play. In the position you're going to play, you got to hit somebody every single play. You can't just waltz through this. And if his mindset was right, just give me the mindset. I'm going to sign him.
Whether Peter Schrager was joking or not, now other news outlets are picking this up and they are making their own jokes. As The Spun puts out an article titled, DJ Burns could pursue a different sport after an NCAA tournament run. There ain't no way, man. There ain't no way.
Just let the guy play basketball in peace. Like, why do we have to turn every good basketball player into a football player? Like, can't we just have good basketball players?
Also, why does he have to be an offensive lineman?
I would Slay when I need him. Man.
Put that dude at wide receiver and I don't care how long it takes him. No one's going to get the ball from him. Just let him go up and grab it.
Man, with his touch, let him play quarterback. With that lefty touch he's got.
I'm telling you, man. A hefty lefty, dog.
Or in the new kick return, let him return kicks, man.
You trust him to move that quick?
Hell yeah.
He's scooting.
He is scooting,
I
man.
love everything about DJ Burns.
I think he's wearing those Anthony Edwards shoes, too, that I'm sure Ant-Man sent to him personally because nobody else on that court has those shoes but him. He's a star. We need more stars in the NFL, and DJ Burns is the next one. Say what y'all want to Bert. I'm telling you, put him back there, man. He looked like a Baltimore Raven. That's what he looks like.
I don't do
Bubba
that.
and Dixon says Jerry Jones is on the phone with his agent as we speak. Man, if Al Davis had been around to see DJ Burns and Joe Milton, he would have drafted both of them with his first 2 picks.
Hey, and the good thing for him is he ain't even got to watch his weight no more. At 290, he need to gain some weight. We need to find a way to get DJ Burns a little bigger.
He got about he probably got another 15 in him. Yeah. He does.
Oh yeah,
He's a sturdy fella.
Sturdy.
He's sturdy. He's a full man.
Mountain of a man.
He's not fat.
No,
he's sturdy.
Not. I just love the way you know they got the speaker in the tunnel and everything that they do, like the 49ers. Like he's Trent Williams in a way.
He's just built like Patrick Starr is my only thing. We need to get some size on his appendages.
Oh no,
he got a body built in the middle. He need a body built for the outside.
Stop.
No, this is Patrick.
Stop it.
No, this is Patrick.
Look up Patrick. Look up Patrick wearing them fishnet stockings with them long legs in the SpongeBob movie. That's what DJ Burns built like.
See, this is why we didn't need Bert talking today, okay?
Yeah, look what you did. You done opened up Bert's box, man. You get what you get.
Open up Bert's box. Now he's done. I'm telling you, he looks like a Baltimore Raven offensive lineman. He's Jonathan Ogden.
Yes, I know players have not played football and then had successful careers, but I mean, I don't see it with this one specifically. The guy's not played a second of football, and it's the finesse that's so impressive about him. Like, he's a big guy, but if you watch him play, like, that's why I'm making the comment of, like, the guy's not playing football. Like, he's like baby hook with the left hand around dudes. Like, he's got touch. Like, he's not just a big bruiser that's just knocking you over and me smash ball in basket. Like, no, it's like he's got some finesse. He's got some skill to it.
He about to be the left tackle for the Bikini Bottom Buccaneers.
The UFL just took off.
Bring him in, man.
Yeah, I was watching Jarrett Garantano highlights over the weekend.
I watched
UFL. He had
UFL
the first
was
touchdown.
fun this weekend, man.
Why do we always do this?
Every time.
We
man.
always do this. The first weekend. Hey, I'm going to get into this spring football league.
I'm telling you.
In 2 weeks, y'all will have not watched another second of that.
When I'm at home and I'm scrolling through, I'm going to stop. That counts as watching, Will.
UFL is a fun game of like, I remember that guy. Like, dudes can sit around a fire for an hour and just name athletes.
Deion Kane.
Those athletes are playing in the UFL. Like those players that we sit around and we're like, remember Javante Payton?
Yep.
The kid from Hillsboro that caught all those bombs for Tennessee Heupel's first year? Yeah, that guy's like a San Antonio Marauder, whatever their name is. He's a St. Louis Battlehawk, respectfully. And I love it. Go get paid, dude. But like I'm good.
I love it. No, I'm here for it, man. Titans legend Darrell Gray is also the starting left guard for them also, for the Birmingham Stallions, by the way.
You hear Isaiah Wilson is over there too? They're actually going to have him perform at the halftime show. They're going to.
I'm telling you,
he's going to rap at the halftime show there.
There's
the UFL Bowl.
There's another Titan on the left tackle, Christian Deloro. What is how you say Deloro? He's also the entire left side of the Birmingham Stallions offensive line is former Titans and also former Steelers. That's the reason I know.
There you go.
They both were both teams.
Coming up next, CBS Sports play-by-play broadcaster Andrew Catalon is going to join us. He was on the call yesterday for Tennessee and Purdue. He had the entire Midwest regional finals over the weekend, was on Tennessee Creighton, Purdue Gonzaga as well. We'll ask his perspective on yesterday's Tennessee-Purdue wrestling match that also included a basketball game next. Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling. Do you or someone close to you find it madness to hear conversation when there's background noise? It's maddening. Last month, well, maybe it's dining at your favorite restaurant. You're even watching your favorite team play on the hardwood. There's a lot of people around. You're hearing their conversations more than you're hearing the conversation that you're actually a part of. Well, if so, I want to introduce you to my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center. They've got 5 doctors of audiology, state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment, and the most recent hearing device technology. And their motto, we're going to get you off the sidelines and back of the game, a better hearing. This affects people of all ages. You're never too old. It's not just your parents, not just your grandparents. It can be you, and they're going to have the technology to tailor a specific hearing solution to each individual patient. Remember this phone number, 615-377-0420, or visit them online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. They've got 85 years of experience right off of the I-65 exit in Brentwood, the old Hickory exit right there. Give them a call, 615-377-0420. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW is brewed by 8th and Roast on 104.5 The Zone. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Kayla Anderson with the morning off. Robert Walsh making the show happen. And we are pleased to be joined on the phones this morning by the man who was on the call over the weekend in the Midwest Regional. Tennessee taking on Purdue and Creighton from CBS Sports. He is Andrew Catalon. Andrew, what's going on? How are you?
What's up, guys? Good to be back with you.
Absolutely.
It was, I'm sure, a busy weekend for you, and I can't imagine what it is like just having to prep for so many teams in such a short amount of time and calling these tournament games. But starting with Tennessee-Purdue yesterday, how much fun was that one from your perspective?
It was amazing. It was probably one of the best college basketball games I've seen all year, and maybe in a few years. I mean, just the level it was played at, you know, the star power with Dalton Connect and Zach Edey. The crowd was amazing. I mean, obviously there was more Purdue fans there, but the Tennessee fans, I would tell you, were almost as loud as the Purdue fans, even though they were outnumbered. It was really just a great atmosphere and a great basketball game.
Andrew Catalon, our guest, CBS Sports play-by-play broadcaster. Andrew, how unique is the challenge of stopping Zach Edey? The 40 points yesterday, Tennessee decided, hey, let's let him get his and try to defend the jump shots on the perimeter, and it mostly worked, but still wasn't able to get it done. Just how unique is it watching him in person?
Yeah, it's something else. I mean, I had them last year when they lost to FDU in the first round, and you know, that was obviously a really bleak day for Purdue, one that I think has truly fueled them this whole season. I think that they have used that loss a year ago and let them use it as motivation all the way down to the Final Four and maybe even more. And he didn't have it that day, you know, against FDU, but he seems to have he's had it going a lot this year. And, you know, I don't know what the answer is there. I mean, I know that, you know, some fans think that he should be called for more fouls. I think some fans think that, you know, you can't stop him. What do? Do you double him? How do you attack him? I mean, there's so many layers to this guy. I just think he's a really good basketball player. I mean, he's tough to slow down. I mean, Rick Barnes told us before the game he's a run stopper. It's really hard to go on a run when you have Edey that they can just throw it into, and they, to their credit, give him a touch almost every possession.
Andrew Catalon of CBS Sports joining us this morning. Andrew, when it comes down to the conversation surrounding Zach Edey as far as how to officiate him, why is it so problematic for him? Is it his size, or is it the style of ball that they play where they can't slow it down and just dish? What's the reasons why the referees have an issue officiating for him?
Yeah, I think it's the size. And, you know, I'm not a referee, but we've had Gene Steratore, our rules official, on. We had him on during the Sweet 16, and we had him on the air yesterday to talk about the challenges in officiating him. And I mean, he gets touched and banged every single time, and it's how much are they going to call it? And for Purdue fans, they're never going to call it enough, and for Tennessee fans, they're going to call it way too much. And I think that is the problem, right? And I would tell you that, you know, you're looking at the game yesterday and Edey had not been called for a foul, right? But was there anything egregious that you would be like, well, how is that not a foul? Or how did he get a call? You know, I think it's more the defensive fouls that he draws than his fouls that tally up. And, you know, Tennessee had a tough time. I mean, Jonas Adu, you know, this is the second time, as you guys know, that they played. They played back in Maui in November. That game was crazy. There was 52 fouls in the game and 78 free throws. You know, Adu fouled out in that game. Owaka fouled out, and they ran into foul trouble again yesterday. And I think that's a big part of the problem when you try to slow down Zach Edey.
Have you seen this March Madness defense somewhat take the back seat and watching these teams just run up points in a 3-point shot? I mean, you're looking at Bama, you're looking at UConn, the run that they had, and truthfully, NC State also, just teams that have efficiently used their offense to make it to the next round.
Yeah, yes and no. I would say that, you know, a lot of these teams go cold. Like you look at Tennessee in the second round against Texas. They were terrible. I mean, they were 3 of 25 from deep. I think it was their defense that got them that 62-58 win. You know, UConn, yes, they can light up the scoreboard, but if you really look at them, they are a really good defensive team as well. They can really, and we saw the run they went on. A lot of that, I know you would say, all right, Illinois missed a lot of shots, but I think UConn's defense had a lot to do with that. So I think it's a good mix, and I think that a lot of teams do fall back on defense. But when you have a guy like Connect who can go for 37 and Edey for 40, those are the guys that come out and lit it up yesterday in the Elite Eight.
Andrew Catalon, CBS play-by-play broadcaster, our guest. Andrew, in your meeting that you referenced with Rick Barnes, we've talked all year about just how much it felt like he really loved this team specifically for a number of reasons. When you were able to meet with him, what stuck out the most from that conversation?
Yeah, I didn't get this on the air because, I was kind of saving it if Tennessee was going to win. But, we asked him, his perspective on maybe going to the Final Four for just the second time in his 37th year. And I thought his answer was really interesting. He said that, I've already had my time. I've already had a great run. I'm grateful for the career I've had. This is about the players. It's not about me at this point in my career. He said he wanted it for the school. He wanted it for the players, but it wasn't like, I think we all look at Rick Barnes' career and like, oh, wow, such a long run, only one Final Four. It was the opposite, his reaction, and in a good way, not in like a I don't care way. It was, this is about the team and the players. I've had my run. I've had my time. I'm loving these guys, and I just wanted it for them. I thought that was really interesting, and that was pretty good perspective from a guy who's, one of the best and now up for the Hall of Fame. It was great interacting with Coach Barnes all week.
And Andrew, I think, too, even the Tennessee fans that are angry or upset today can also realize that Matt Painter is one of the good guys in the sport and one of the guys that is beloved in college basketball. But for Rick Barnes specifically, just how unique of a personality is he? From all the coaches you get to interact with and spend time with, just how good do Tennessee fans have it, I guess is kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah, honestly, I'd never met him until this week, but he and Steve Lapis, my analyst, they started telling stories from, back in the day, and I put my pen down and just listened. It was just fascinating. This guy has so much knowledge, so many stories. He's seen it all, and, I more about talking to Coach Barnes, I got more out of Dalton Connect about Coach Barnes. Dalton Connect said that he wanted to go to Tennessee because he wanted to be coached hard. He wanted to learn how to play better defense. And Rick Barnes has given that to him. I said to Dalton, I said, Coach Barnes says he's coaching you hard. He goes, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. He has made me such a better player. Think about Dalton Connect's trajectory now and how much of that has to do with Rick Barnes. I think that says it all about how this guy's now an NBA draft pick, and he can do it on both ends of the floor, something I don't think he could do before he came to Tennessee this year.
Andrew Catalon is with us this morning. That's where I wanted to take it actually next. Is March Madness and the things that we've seen and the way we've watched teams somewhat flourish, like in NC State, watching even Alabama with transfers, Dalton Connect's storyline as far as the portal and NIL and stuff like that. Is that one of the direct reflections of how to do the portal and NIL the right way?
Yeah, I think so. I think there is a good way. There are certainly benefits to it. Dalton Connect obviously is a great example. I was in Pittsburgh last week with DJ Burns, and also you had Oakland with Jack Golke, who transferred from Division II to Oakland and had that incredible game against Kentucky. I definitely think there's benefits to it. I think some of the NIL stuff, and this is not my opinion, it's more the coaches I talk to, it needs to be regulated a little more. I think that it's a little too Wild West sometimes as to the money and guys, just going wherever they can get the most money. I think there needs to be, and I think the NCAA realizes this, there needs to be some type of regulatory NIL structure. I think that'll come in time, but there's no doubt there's certain benefits to what we're seeing in college basketball. I agree.
With someone like yourself that calls these games and study them and break them down, at what point do you start to believe you have a darling of a team like an NC State? Because for a while it was between them and Clemson. I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's real and what's not. When for you does it really kick in like, okay, this team is real?
Yeah, well, I would say that last year with Purdue and FDU, I didn't believe it was real until about 5 minutes left in the game. So, I try not to get too ahead of myself. With NC State, I was really impressed. I am really impressed still. I mean, the fact that this team hasn't run out of gas, it blows my mind. I mean, the number of games, 5 in 5 days at the ACC tournament, overtime in the second round. They're not incredibly deep. They're just on a great ride right now. And I think that's really what's special about this time of year. I mean, this tournament, just the moments it produces, it's so hard to predict. And that's why, I know there's a lot of talk about expansion in the tournament and get some more of the, the Power 6 teams in. But, for me, I love these little guys that and NC State, let's get it right, is not a little guy, but just their story is what March is all about. And I think it's an incredible job that Kevin Keatts has done. You look at him, I mean, they were talking about firing him before the ACC tournament, and now he's in the Final Four. I mean, that can only happen in this month in college basketball.
Andrew, it's amazing. You've had a close look at DJ Burns, like you mentioned, of course, at Zach Edey and Purdue. We're reading tweets about NFL general managers talking seriously about DJ Burns being an NFL prospect. I mean, you see the guy up close. Can you give us your perspective on whether or not that is an April Fool's joke or not, whether that's actually, something that could happen?
Yeah, I actually asked him last week in Pittsburgh. I said, a lot of people say you should be playing football. What is your reaction to that? And he said, I understand. I don't look like a college basketball player. I get all that, but I'm not playing football.
Right.
So, he kind of shot that down right away. So I saw some of those tweets this morning too, and I think any time that you can, you guys know it with covering the Titans in the NFL that, there are guys that have made that transition very well from college basketball to college football. I don't know if this is going to be the next guy. It didn't sound like it to me, but who knows? I don't think he's thinking about it right now, but he didn't really have a strong interest when I asked him about it last week.
He must have had a bad bull in the ring experience. That'll usually turn football players into basketball players. That'll usually do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Andrew, on the way out with a 10 o'clock tip-off the other night, I mean, you've got so many teams to prep for. I'm always fascinated with processes of play-by-play broadcasters, and you do great work in a number of different sports. But just how unique of a challenge is it, just from your perspective, calling an NCAA tournament? Of all the things you get to do, just how different that is.
Yeah, I would say it's twofold. One, you don't have a lot of prep time. Like, I probably am able to prep more for a Wednesday, early February regular season game than I can for an NCAA tournament game, just because of the number of teams I have to prepare for. So it's getting in a routine to, figure out, the best way to get ready to call that game in such a short amount of time. The bigger thing that I find is you got to stay healthy. I mean, it's just so hard, specifically with my voice, to get so excited and yell and scream and then call 4 games in a day, 2 games the next, a day later, and then do it again. I had a tough time last week with my voice. I was a little concerned about that. I think that's why I didn't jump on with you guys last week. Normally I would, but I was just trying to rest my voice, and thankfully it was okay. But that's probably the biggest challenge. I know people at home probably like, well, whatever. You're just talking. You're calling a game. But when you do it and you get excited, for, the first round of the tournament is 4 games. I was there for 12 and a half hours, So, my voice was pretty banged up after that first day. So I learned some lessons this year that hopefully will help me in the future.
Andrew, one last one for me. As far as teams with really good coaches like Auburn with Bruce, like Kansas, like Kentucky, is it fair to expect them to have way better seasons next year? And I'll ask this also on the back end for a guy like Calipari in Kentucky. Them stripping his powers away, as far as what's been reported, do you see this as the first stage of him being moved out, or this is a change that he also needs as a coach as far as his staff and management of his UK Wildcats?
I don't know about going forward. I haven't really seen much of that. But all I'll say is that having called their loss to Oakland, it was clear to me with that game, and it was clear to me a year ago with Purdue and their young guards, were freshmen last year, and the young Kentucky freshmen this year, that right now in college basketball, it is an older man's game. And with the COVID year and guys in their 6th years and graduate transfers, it's really hard to win with freshmen right now. Now that could change in the coming years. As the COVID year goes away, maybe it'll morph back into a younger game. But right now, you got to have seniors and like 60-year seniors to win. And Kentucky didn't have that this year. And Purdue didn't have that last year. And I think that's why they lost. So I think that's probably the bigger thing is making sure you use this portal to get veteran, experienced players that can win in March. That's the difference to me.
Andrew Catalon has been our guest, play-by-play broadcaster for CBS Sports. Andrew, I know it is a very busy time, and we always really appreciate you making time for us. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are the best. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yep, you as well. There's Andrew Catalon with us here this morning on the show with the words that shut down DJ Burns' football career, unfortunately, maybe for NFL people.
No, that's. I'm sure you're going to get calls. He'll get a shot somewhere. I don't know if it's NBA or where he's going to go, but his basketball career will continue on.
I definitely want, I always talk about the play-by-play stuff, and I've always wondered how those guys do it, because he is right that I think we all underestimate the physical toll of calling 12 straight hours of basketball almost. Like, legitimately. It's not 12 straight hours of broadcasting. You have the break in the middle, maybe like a 2-hour break between your first two games and your next two games. But the nature of that and the way they set it up, and there's no other way to do it. Like, it's the best way for CBS to program that format. But my goodness, I cannot imagine the amount of work that goes into that and the physical toll that takes calling so many games.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a lot. One thing in particular, too, he brought up at the end, I had to ask that question to him, is the older man's NCAA tournament March Madness better than the young guy? I wonder what it's going to look like in the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Watching how it evolves even more, because, again, I think you expect more of the blue blood teams like Kansas that got the better talent, right? I thought that was fascinating by him by saying, no, you need a guy that has experience that can bring either points or calm to your team.
I would even argue that I think the majority of teams are old. Like the Kentuckys of the world. And Kentucky had some upperclassmen this year, too.
They did.
They had a couple seniors that played on that team this year. But I think the value of the tournament itself is so much based on how many mid-major favorites win their conference tournaments. And the reason why we had a not as chaotic tournament this year than in previous years is because those 11, 12, 13 seeds were upsets in their conference tournaments. Like, you didn't have Indiana State in the tournament, who would have been a prime upset candidate from the Missouri Valley to go as a 11 or 12 seed or a 10 seed if they'd made it and make a run, because they got upset by Drake, who then loses as the 10 seed in the first round and was close to winning in their game. So I think so many teams are old that you're right. I mean, it does have to change the arithmetic a bit for the Bill Selfs and John Calipari's out here.
Yeah, and like I said, we got maybe 1-2 more years left of these guys, the older dudes. But the way they will have to probably stack through the portal, as Catalon said earlier, a second ago, I think will be crucial. I think some of that will be the recipe.
Final call for phone calls, 615-737-1045. We'll get to headlines we have not yet touched on, and I may or may not rant on the dumbest thing that was sent to me on social media. Over the weekend. That's next.
April is here, and with the springtime weather, it's important to have quality windows. If yours won't open to let in the fresh air, won't seal tight to keep out the pollen and bugs, or have been leaking water all winter, then it's time for you to talk to the experts at Window Nation. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 free. There's no limit to how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more with no interest or payments for 24 months. Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty and can be installed in 1 day or less.
With proven quality and service, when you buy from Window Nation, you can rest assured you're getting affordable windows that meet or beat the ones from the other national brands. Don't miss out on your chance to afford quality windows with an unlimited buy 2, get 2 free, plus 0 interest or payments for 24 months. You can't afford to wait. It's easy. Call 866-90Nation or go online at windownation.com.
Wrapping up the Monday morning show on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW, brewed by 8th and Roast. Shout out to the best team in baseball, man. So this big box came into the station. Rich Ferris, our promotions director, brought in this big package. It was addressed to me. I thought it was a Vanderbilt fan trying to poison me. Maybe like a little bomb that could just blow me up and no one else.
Yeah.
This is a care package from the Atlanta Braves.
Hey.
We've got a Spencer Strider bobblehead in here. I've got a World Series champion sticker, 2021. Phillies fans, that's what that looks like. If you wanted one, if you wanted to see what one looked like in the last 15 years. Let's see. There's a Braves shirt in here. Look at this. It says, "We are Braves country" with the state of Tennessee.
That's tough right there.
This is bragging camp that I will happily go to. This is awesome.
That's actually pretty
Thank you,
tough.
Atlanta Braves.
And you posted it online, too. That's a nice photo op by you right there, too.
Thank you. The box is sweet.
Didn't know
it's
you
got like a message on the top.
Pull it off right there. They got billboards around the city right now, too.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. I guess they say do not get a baseball team in Nashville.
Whether you're driving through Jackson on I-20 or relaxing on a beach in the Carolinas,
hey now.
Eating barbecue in Birmingham, chasing a dream on Broadway, or on a farm just outside Macon. That's where my mom is from. That's where my mom was born.
Okay.
Or not born, but that's where she's from. All roads lead home. I love
Boo.
that. Thank you, Braves.
Boo. Nah, kid. I like going to the games. I actually thought about it going soon.
I'm doing the chop. If you're not watching on 104.5 The Zone
Is that
TV.
a new dance?
No, Ramon.
I got to mock it, Will. That's what we do.
Anyway, it's incredible, Ramon Foster, real quick. The most amount of messages and tweets that I got yesterday.
About what?
Other than Tennessee fans were from Vanderbilt fans.
Why Vandy fans?
I guess on a holiday when a lot of people are put at the kids' table. And then they have to sit at the kids' table and eat their meal, and they gotta have their clean plate and show it to mom and dad before they can come hang out with the adult table.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt fans need to stay at the kid table. It's really okay. One day you have a new coach, maybe you will get double-digit wins next year. That'll be great. But this idea of, well, I mean, in major sports, Vanderbilt has a championship, Tennessee doesn't since 2000. In major sports, what? That's a pretty arbitrary view of major sports. Let's start there. LSU Iowa tonight in women's basketball is the event of the week.
Yes, it is.
In sports. And Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese in the rematch of that game. You know I love baseball. I love college baseball. I like Tim Corbin. Tim Corbin has been on our show. I have a lot of respect for Vanderbilt baseball. But this arbitrary idea that Vanderbilt has a major sports championship and Tennessee doesn't since 2000, how do we view what a major sport is? In 2023, the College World Series Championship had 2.86 million viewers on television. The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship had 6.5 million viewers on ESPN. Same network.
Yep.
Actually, similar time slots. If baseball is a major sport, then women's basketball is 100% a major sport as well. And Tennessee has a Candace Parker 2009 national championship in there as well. Back to back, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, you forgot the other one.
So,
what I'm talking about here.
I get it. It fits your little narrative, and it fits your little, like, we matter. And it's how you show us that your plate is clean to go from the kids' table to the adults' table. But you got to finish your SpaghettiOs for a couple more years at the kids' table and do something meaningful. And besides baseball, for us to take you seriously and add you to the conversation.
That's fair.
Anyway.
Hey, I got bigger issues, man. Instead of talking about who has won a championship or not, I love the back and forth, though. I'll be honest with you.
Absolutely.
With other SEC teams and even Purdue fans now, they've been a thorn as of late, though, too. We haven't talked enough about Purdue and the thorn that they've been to us.
Sure have. Knocked Tennessee out in 2019. They had a fraudulent Music City Bowl win over Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Beat them this year in Maui and then beat them again in this one.
Yep. With that being said, though, you brought up a great point. This Iowa-LSU matchup.
Telling you, man.
It is hot, and I cannot wait to watch this one tonight. Really looking forward to see how they officiate this one. Does Caitlin Clark go off? And just the narrative surrounding this game too is let's keep it clean. That's all I'll say. Let's keep it clean.
It'll be fun. I'll be watching for sure.
Definitely.
Kyle in Birmingham gets the last call of the morning on the phones. What's up, Kyle?
What's going on, guys? Is Bert available to talk to?
Bert is absolutely available to talk to.
Bert, my boy Pollard, Tony Pollard's going to have more all-purpose yards than Derrick Henry. What do you think, man?
Hey, well, let me tell you, when you called me up a second ago, you were like, I want to bet that Tony Pollard has more rushing yards than Derrick Henry. And I was like, sure, I would take that bet. And now it's all-purpose yards. You done double back. I thought this was an April Fool's joke as easy as he's going to make it on me. So now you threw it to the other side. So are we doing all-purpose or are we doing rushing yards? And what are we betting on? Is it a fish fillet? Is it money? Is it some folding cash? What are we betting on?
All right, Tony Pollard returns kickoffs, so I ain't counting that. Tony Pollard is a receiving back, man. You can't take that away. I may have missaid it, but, he's going to get Henry. But what we can bet on, man, how about you buy me 2 tickets to the Greco Cell thing, and what would you like if, the Greco Cell thing is coming up soon?
Yeah, I was going to say,
how about you just buy me the tickets?
If you're going to make a bet, Kyle, you got to have the terms in advance before you make the bet.
He didn't realize Bert was so serious.
We can come up with them on air and have fun. What y'all thinking?
I'm all for this one. 100%.
Okay, how about this? How about this, guys? Well, first, let me ask you this. I think if I win, you need to buy me an all-expense-paid trip to Italy. Do you guys okay. Well, hold on, Kyle. Do you know what the shape of Italy is?
What the shape Italy is?
It's a boot. See you later, buddy.
Kyle gotta call back tomorrow. Gotta call back tomorrow, Kyle. We gotta hash out these.
I saw your left hand go to the phone, and I knew from a mile away what was coming. Kyle, we appreciate you.
Hey, I'll bet. Figure it out. Figure out what we're betting, and I'll bet.
Hey, somebody put crab cakes. Fuka put crab cakes.
If you win, then he has to buy you a Ravens Derrick Henry jersey.
Ooh.
If he wins, you have to buy him a Tony Pollard Titans jersey.
I love that.
All right.
That's fair. That's clean.
We'll work it out with Kyle. Bert has been waiting to do that bit of the boot. We have talked about that so many times. Anyway, the Zone has given us the boot, and the Buck Rising Show is coming up next.
This is awesome. Y'all got to remember at all times, man, if you call up here with a bet, have your outlines, ready for it. But at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.